I tried my best to be kind to the printers with how I design my artwork. Like there's ways you can make your artwork easier to print and visually appear similar. It's like you don't want to minimize where lines cross over surfaces so they don't have to line it up too much. So
Yeah.
it's like end a pocket on the side of the leg so you don't have to continue some line elsewhere.
Welcome back to another episode of Brick Chat. I'm your host, Blake, or ThrawnBuilds. We are so glad you're listening in. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Elijah, the Brick Engineer. Elijah, how's your night going?
My night is great, dude. I'm excited to be back on Brick Chat. Yeah, super excited to interview our guest, have a good little conversation.
I love it. Yeah, we're super excited for tonight. Tonight we have definitely a veteran in the custom Lego space. Tonight's guest is someone who worked at Brick Mania for 9+ years, has over 1 million minifigures sold, and had his hand in a ton of custom Lego designs across minifigure and, I believe, some Brickarms collaborations. Tonight's guest is Lando. Lando, thanks for joining us. How's your night going?
Oh, it's going awesome. Even better now that I'm here. Thank you very much for having me. So I'm excited
Yes, and I also
talk.
totally missed your most important one, your newest company, Brickwarp.
Brickwarp, yeah, I guess that's a thing now.
Cool
Yeah.
stuff. Yes, oh my goodness. I'm a big fan of the Universal Crates. That's been
Right on.
a bunch of my backgrounds.
It's the Universal Crates were many years in the making. I design all my artwork in my head, and sometimes it brews up there for years. And,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
that is a culmination of every single video game or movie or anything that I've ever played distilled into a crate.
That's exactly how I would describe it, because it literally,
Yeah.
it works in the background of like any different type of post. Like it can
Everything.
be a, more sci-fi crate, but it really seems like it's like the military background. It feels like every like Call of Duty video game background or Battlefront. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
I
was
gonna
funny
say-
after. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, you go ahead, Lando. My bad.
After I finished designing it, I like found more and more video games that like this is the same exact thing. Like it was weird. It's like it's everywhere. I
Hence
can't get
the
it out of my
name.
head, man.
Right? The Universal Crate.
It is.
Yeah, I was gonna say when I first saw it, because I didn't know who created it, and when I saw it in Blake's backgrounds, I was like, wow, that's like Call of Duty. Because I played, at least growing up, like I was mostly in the era of like Black Ops Modern Warfare, that type of stuff.
Sure.
I don't play much anymore, no time. But yeah, it is an awesome product. Actually, Blake can attest to this. A couple weeks ago, I was like, hey, who made that?
Right on.
Because I had seen it everywhere, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and we're
props to you. That's awesome.
We're the worst people to be like duoing back and forth about these crates, because I personally barely played very many video games growing up. I mean, I played and watched a ton, but like I couldn't name you all of them. But again, it works across like all
And
the
it's-
different video game genres.
Right.
and
Well, it's not just video games. I mean, think about that
in
ending
movies,
scene, Indiana Jones, man. Like,
Yes. Oh my goodness, when they're the arc.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
waiting for
especially,
somebody to like, I need to recreate this scene and then buy out my entire stock. So
Yes. You
I'll give
need
you
like
a discount if
1,000
anyone's
of them.
listening. So please do.
Hey,
It'd be awesome.
if you ever have a fan that's a huge fan of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, when they go into that like area and try to find I can't even remember what they're looking for, but there's a ton of crates, right? Like there's the Ark of the Covenant and everything in there. So
That's right.
if you're listening to this podcast and you love that scene, please go buy all of the Universal crates.
Yeah.
Wait. Crystal Skull, was that the later one?
Yeah,
so
I
there's
think
like-
I only watched that one. He blew up in the fridge with the nuclear explosion,
Yep,
right? Was
that
that,
one.
okay?
That one.
Yep.
That one. There's just like a scene where I can't even remember what they're after, but they like have to get something, and the Ark of the Covenant's in there, and there's like a bunch of these confidential like boxes, and there's like 1 billion crates. And
Confidential,
so,
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's got to be a throwback to the was
The
it
Raiders of the Lost
yeah.
Ark scene,
That-
right?
that last-
and that's
that's
what
where
I
the
was
movie ends,
picturing.
yeah.
Right. Of the
Yeah,
warehouse
so-
with all the crates. Now that you've said it, I'm definitely gonna have to either remake that or poke a couple Indiana Jones friends.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
you gotta remake this, yeah.
Oh yeah. So it's prime
Yeah.
for that. I'm
Yeah.
glad I got you guys so excited about like a boring generic wooden crate. I think that's
That's
a good sign.
that's kind of like the beauty I love about classic Lego, and if you followed me for any
Right.
amount of time, like I'm all about classic Lego, is it's like it really is so simple. It's almost like you could have just Sharpied it on there. Your design isn't simple. It doesn't look like you could draw it.
No, Sharpie is a
but-
great compliment. I love it. Keep going. Yeah.
But what I mean by that is like it's really the simplicity of it works with that classic Lego style that back when the pad printer, they, you know, were super limited by colors that they could use and the designs that they could use. And I just think it blends in really well. But I kind of take that back because the crates are pretty modern too. They work with the modern Brickarms mod picks the most.
Yeah, I've been trying to find that. I mean, this is the eternal balance of a custom minifigure designer. And even I'm sure the designers at Lego are dealing with this too, is like you have this whole backlog of Lego, and it's like the hardcore collectors, you know, they've been collecting for ages, and what are they looking for, and are they wanting something more modern? Are they wanting it to blend in with their current style or their existing collection style? So it seems like there is like a Lego aesthetic that it can be really simple, but you can also push the limits a little bit to go into more detail. But that's a really hard balance to achieve, and I think some of the better artists are more conscious of it, because it's not just like recreating artwork one for one as detailed as you can get it. It's kind of like you're creating a caricature of a real life thing in a Lego style, like kind of a comic book style almost. But
as it relates to the minifigure, and the minifigure already has awful human proportions.
Oh gosh,
so
please do not get me started on that.
Right, you can't design 1-to-1. So
yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say, like, one of my favorite things ever is when people, like, like a minifigure will be made and they'll complain about something that I think is like dumb, and I'm like, you know that the minifigure like isn't proportioned at all, anyways, right? Like, there's many things that we could complain about, but they're probably not going to change.
So here's the question: how tall is the minifigure?
Right.
That's a good question.
Is the minifigure 6'4", or is the minifigure like 5'7"?
Well, even if it's 5'7", that still means that it's like 4 feet across. Like,
right.
This is
true.
It's an interesting. I've been trying to find the set, but I think one of the earlier sets where they debuted the minifigure was actually as a baby for those big weird round head figures.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Oh,
bizarre.
For the larger figures. I know what you're talking about. Maybe we'll put that in the wrap up. We'll find one of the pictures
it's all
of
weird baby minifigures that we're designing.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't think about that too much. That's fine.
Yeah. Think about it too much becomes a real issue.
Just don't think about it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Man.
So, Lando, do you want to kind of just go back in time and walk us through that intro for you to Lego and to custom Lego, and, you know, kind of what got you started in the custom world? You know, what led to 1 million minifigures sold?
Yeah. And that's a rough number. I need to confirm that, but I think it's a good rough guess. Anyways,
cool.
So going back to the beginning, I've been building Lego for, you know, since I was a kid, whatever, as long as I can remember. The first set, I believe, was Blacktron 2, and it was like I forget what it's called, something Scout or whatever. I don't know. They had pretty generic names back then. And it was like a single minifigure with a little canopy, and it had like this like vibrant glow in the dark green canopy, and I was kind of bummed, to be honest, when I took it out of the packaging. The packaging is like glowing vibrantly, like, and then you get it and it's like it's not quite as vibrant as the package. Whatever. Okay.
Right.
It still was pretty cool. Whatever. So Blacktron 2, I love the classic space lineup just in general was awesome. But yeah, going on from there, in college I wasn't building as much. I think I had my collection kind of put away.
Okay, you didn't get rid of all of it though.
No. I had everything. So
that's a great advantage in the Lego space.
No,
mine,
a little bit of a dark. I wasn't like building actively.
Sure.
You know, I remember seeing the what is it, Brothers Brick blog.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I realized, that it's like, oh, you can build stuff that's like beyond just like it's cooler than what Lego's making. Mm-hmm. It's you know, there's these techniques that Lego wasn't really doing at the time, and still are kind of apprehensive on you know, pulling off these whatever techniques.
Right, they're still bound to that.
Yeah.
You've got to have a model that a kid can have and maybe play with, and it's not going to fall apart.
Right.
Versus
Well, there's
custom
like
space, we don't have to worry about that.
There's even like a friction coefficient that they can't like violate. That's what I've heard from, like, it's like you can't have parts touching each other if they're not connected with a stud too much.
Interesting.
There's got to be a whole bureaucracy that they got to fight there. I feel sorry for some of the designers there with like, it's a good and a bad, I guess. It's like you don't get substandard kits, I guess, released usually.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyways, you got me sidetracked. What are we talking about?
Good. That's the point. We're just here to talk.
Beyond the Brick, or Brothers Brick blog.
Brothers Bricks.
They that kind of like that kind of tipped me off to like, oh, there's this whole aftermarket community here, and I got my collection sort of out of storage, and I sorted it by color, which is the correct way. Just kidding. No, I will say eventually I sorted it by piece, and then I promptly stopped building forever. No. So if you sort your collection too much, I think some people are into it for the sorting and not for the building. I don't know. That's maybe calling some people out. But
I wish I was better at sorting.
No, it's fine. It's fine as long as you're building. It doesn't matter.
That's a good point.
But so I was building a little bit, and at the time, I had just finished up college. Went for my graphic design degree. And like any good graphic designer, I was working at a coffee shop after college. That's just the natural career path.
That is amazing.
And I was just in my neighborhood. I walked by a warehouse building, and I saw this weird Lego inside the windows of these warehouse. You know, just this old like 1930s warehouse. It's like as big as the whole block. And it was Brick Mania, and I had never,
no way.
They were like literally in my neighborhood.
You literally walked past it.
Like, yeah, they were like 3 or 4 blocks from where I was living at the time.
Talk about fate.
Yeah, right. And so I looked them up online, and I found that they had an open house, and I volunteered, and he had me helping out for a few weeks, or I don't even know if it was that long, but it just snowballed into a job, and yeah, it kind of it just kept snowballing from there. So
wow, yeah, that's really
so
cool.
how long was Brick Mania around when you first found them? Were like brand new? They'd been around for a couple years.
They had, I think his start date was 99.
Oh wow.
So
whoa, okay.
Yeah. So that was he at the time was also he has had a punk rock record label, and he's had a ton of bands on that label. So it's like I'm not like super into punk rock, but you know it's on the underground scenes. I think is a more notable brand, Profane Existence, and so he's had several hundred bands on that label.
Wow.
And so he was running that as well as this Brick Mania, and so he made a few tanks, and he ended up just like wanting to hand that off or take a break. He permanently shut it down for, I think in 2003. I might be getting the dates wrong, but he permanently shut it down, made a compilation CD, and just went back to focusing on the music side of things. In the meantime, that's his military builds kind of picked up in this modding community, because nobody was he was the first person to use the Lego chain links as tank treads. And that was kind of like foundational for the Lego military builders at the time.
Yeah,
huge. Yeah,
and it's like, oh yeah, you can actually make cool tanks now. So there's this whole scene that was like bootlegging his stuff and recreating his stuff, and Will Chapman from Brickarms I think he got one of Dan's original or first few kits, and his son was like, oh man, we need like accurate guns to go with this. And that's kind of, it's like, so that's sort of how Brickarms like got going with like, oh man, we need some guns
reaction. I actually didn't know that part of the story.
That's very cool.
And Will from Brickarms got a hold of Dan and was like, Dan, where are you? There's this whole like scene that's like, kind of sprung up, and there's some people are bootlegging your kits. Some people, it's like people want more.
They need military vehicles.
Yeah, and so he started going again, and that was probably, when did I start? 2013. So that would have been like 2010 maybe that he got going again. Maybe earlier than that.
Wow. So years later though.
Yeah, years later he came back into it, and a couple of years after that, I joined up, and the company was like less than 10 people, maybe 5 people when I joined up, and it kind of blew up there after that, or I kind of got in the middle of it blowing up. So
yeah, well, that's
cool.
super cool.
Yeah.
And so
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, kind of full circle. I have a couple of like the Brickarms tank pieces that I could be wrong here, but I think they were made for the Brick Mania tanks. But I just got some in a Workshop Wonder.
Yeah, maybe. So, I don't know what if you show me the pieces.
Oh, yeah.
Are they the tank barrels and tips?
The tank barrels.
Yeah. Those were. Yeah, he eventually released them just for general public. I think Brick Mania has them for sale. So I'm still like young. I'm still, even though I'm not working at Brick Mania, I'm not officially, an employee on the payroll. I still got maybe some secret projects as of right now that I am working on them with. So we're still on good terms.
Very exciting. Yeah.
That's way
cool. Which leads into
your newest
my
project.
Next thing. Yeah. Well, so prior to this, it's like I designed most of the minifigures for Brick Mania over the course of, I guess, my first minifigure would have been maybe 8 years ago or so. And when Brick Mania was going, when I started, they were predominantly using Citizen Brick minifigures. And I just remember like one day he had like this like shoebox in the office, and he's like, "This is like $40,000 of minifigures," and I was like, "How is this possible?"
Oh my goodness!
It's like this doesn't. That's like, oh, okay. There's money to be made here. There's a product that people want, so it's cool. And obviously it's a sweet topic. Lego's just like Lego's fun with their pirates and their Star Wars and stuff, but history is interesting as well.
Yeah, and they don't touch that side at all. So did Brick Mania, and I really do want to really ask you and get into your projects with Brickwarp.
Oh, for sure. It's all related. That's cool.
But with Brick Mania, did it start as you guys were getting pad figures commissioned from Citizen Brick, or you were just getting the Citizen Brick military figures? Because I think I could be wrong, but didn't Brick Mania do pad for a little while, or did pad figures for a while, and then now mostly just does UV? Or changed to mostly UV? Yeah,
so it started out just, I don't think Dan necessarily commissioned, it was a Marine, World War II Marine, and that was just the stock Citizen Brick one. And
gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah, so that wasn't like, necessarily a Brick Mania commission, I don't recall, I don't think.
Just a stock figure, yeah.
Yeah, and after that, I had a bit of the graphic design experience, and like I hadn't done like illustrations or minifigure stuff before, but I was personally, I thought minifigures were cool, and I saw the potential of like, man, it's like there's so many historical, like look at the action figure, like the 1/6 scale this action figure scene. It's like, man, there's thousands of different historical figures to be made here. Even just like, looking at real life too, like, obviously. There's so much stuff to be made here that I thought it's like, we really should give this a crack. And yeah, we eventually picked up our own. We had a few pad printed minifigures commissioned through a company here locally. Maybe it was like 3 or 4 different designs. Okay. And eventually we found the company that could we could run the UV printer. So I had a good background in graphic design, and coworker, the camera guy, actually, he's still working at Brick Mania. He's the super tech savvy. We kind of just figured out how to run this UV printer and start just creating minifigures. So it started. It was a learning curve, no doubt, but it ended up producing some pretty cool minifigures for I guess the early eras of Brick Mania minifigures, I think. So
yeah. How did you teach yourself how to design the minifigure side? I know you had the graphic design side, but
sure.
You were just looking at cool stuff. Yeah.
Lego's the goal was always to create a minifigure as if Lego would have done it, and the Lord of the Rings minifigures were kind of newer at the time. And I really loved it. Like they were kind of a step up in artwork. I agree. That first generation of Lord of the Rings minifigures, and like, man, it's like. So I got a hold of Lego's. I don't know what this was. It was like some official design book. It's like what you can and cannot do with Lego artwork, and there's some like guidelines that they have, and it was like all the lines have to be this certain thickness, unless like, and there's stipulations for everything.
Right.
But it was like, it should do this, it shouldn't do this. They had I think they even had a picture of, Will made that like Mr. Black and Mr. White minifigures, and they were like strapped up with like bombs and explosives. Like it was like the terrorist.
So.
It was like the terrorist
Yes.
minifigures. And
Yes.
they had a picture of that in there with a big X over it.
Yeah. Okay.
Like do not like don't make terrorist minifigures. Like oh jeez.
I remember that controversy
yeah.
a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
So there were other funny things where it showed different minifigure faces. There's really specific rules, unspoken some of them, but it's where do the eyes go? Where do the glint little white thing in the eye? Like where do these all line up on the minifigure head? And if you're off by like less than like a millimeter, it just looks weird. Like you can see it. Like if yeah.
And sometimes when it's off and in finished products or renders or something, you can't tell. Like me as the person who is not the expert on this, you can't quite tell what's wrong with it, but you can tell that something's a little bit off. Yeah.
Uncanny Valley is what they call. Yeah, it's
Uncanny Valley.
Yeah.
Seriously, and it's like the first mistake people make is it's either the whole face is way too big, or they place the eyes too high. Like minifigure eyes are about in the middle of the head, which you wouldn't think, but it's like, and that's kind of like a drawing mistake almost when you're drawing a human. It's like you wouldn't think that your eyes are smack dab in the middle of your head oval or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Kind of the same with the minifigure. So that's where you see those when you see those knockoff minifigures, often that they scale stuff weird or they place it too high is usually the kind of telltale.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Especially I've noticed the any type of like clone trooper, the visor's like way up here and you're like, what the heck? It always looks a little bit funky. I actually do have a follow-up question, maybe a little bit about the UV printed figures, because I've been familiar with Brick Mania for quite a while. And then as I got back into Lego back in probably like 2019, I looked back into Brick Mania and noticed, like you said, they had a lot more minifigures than they had prior. And I noticed that a lot of Brick Mania, because it is military, and military, I think, has a lot of detail on the minifigures. For me, I think that is one of the reasons why UV is often used, right? Because you don't have to have 12 layers and 12 cliches and all of the ink mixing and all of the color matching, right? UV allows a lot more flexibility with that. Now, the print's a little bit raised, and I understand that. But for me, personally, yes, I prefer pad, but I understand the pros and cons of each, right? Especially as processes. So for Brick Mania, and I guess for your current brand, right, is the push for UV, or I guess not push, but use of UV, is it mostly because of like the intricate designs, the quick turnaround time, like?
Oh, for sure. That's definitely, it's the flexibility of it.
Yeah, I would assume. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you have to burn. I don't know the process of pad printing super well actually. I mean, I've seen the videos that people have posted and whatnot. But from my understanding, it's like there's a turnaround time to burn those. I don't know the terminology for everything, but the plates or whatever. It's
to etch is usually what they word.
Sure. It's a turnaround time for that, and it's each color has to be separated. They have to. So another, and I would agree that I like the look of pad printing, especially when it gets when you really can get that ink nice and thick. It just looks great. The colors are super pure. Like it is the color. You mix the correct color.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not like a combination of CMYK. It's the pure color. It's gorgeous. I can't. There's a lot of colors that I can't even do, but there's ways I can recreate them, but I can't.
So
do it. Yeah.
And kind of on the same topic, but on the flip side, I would say one of my favorite minifigures that I've seen in your collection or in your history is your Rick Deckard figure for Brick Mania. And that one, I mean, is a ton of colors. So when you're going about designing a figure like that, were you pulling from real references when you were looking for colors? Were you just going off of what looks good in the past? Were you going off of like colors that you've printed before with UV and these look good together? Or just, I know that's a really open-ended question on color theory, but
right. There's definitely, when you're making a minifigure, I mean, I think it's kind of like anything. You get more experience, and you get I've seen what I can kind of imagine in my head what the printer is going to do with my artwork, because it's never the same as what I have on the screen is not going to, that's not what's going to print.
Right.
It's two completely different things. It's like you're going from a digital medium to a physical medium. So you have to kind of just do it enough times to understand what's going to turn out. So Another thing that I see with newer designers is I'm assuming that they have their minifigures zoomed in 1,000% and it's taking up their entire computer screen. I mean, it's going to print the size of your thumbnail. So
Yeah.
zoom out, man. It's like that line that's like 0.5 millimeter across is not, I mean, it's not going to show up quite in the way that it's looking on your screen blown up 1,000%. So you get a lot of minifigure designers coming in with really fine, intricate lines, and they'll get every single stitch and they'll get every single detail. And that's sort of what I was doing in my early days as well. Just trying to get every single little stitch. But I mean, that's not what, these hyper literal designs are the first natural jumping in point, because it's like, yeah, you can look at this uniform under a microscope and try to replicate it in artwork.
Yeah.
But when you look at a real photograph of something, it's like you don't see half the lines for everything.
Yeah.
Even for like stuff like pockets and zippers and stuff, sometimes it just fades off into a shadow and you don't see every single line, and it's a lot more of an organic process. But yeah, I'm actually trying to pull up the file here. It's
Oh, sweet.
Dark Future was the theme that we called it. That was like our all-encompassing Dark Future. And what was the copyright non-infringing name that we had for this dude?
Right, I know.
It was
saying the name.
Retirement Officer. That's what it was.
Retirement Officer.
I'm pulling it up here on my original artwork.
That's a legendary figure that I know people like go back and search of. On
He was
eBay.
fun. He was fun. So John Canepa, he was on board at Brick Mania, and his previous business was a Brick Brigade, and Brick Mania bought him up, and he had designed a Deckard figure as well. Okay. So it's like it was an interesting combo, because it's like he had one already, and I desperately wanted to make my own. So
I was gonna say you had to have wanted to make one, right?
I'm thankful for John for being cool about that and like letting me express my creative interests. But it's I don't really view any custom minifigure companies as like competing with each other, or even like just artists. It's like, do you think of when you're thinking of like bands, do you think of like, oh, this guitarist is competing with this one? It's like, I don't know. It's kind of a weird way of looking at it.
That's a really unique way of putting it, because I've heard all the times of people saying, like every company wants to put out their own version of every minifigure because they want to build their portfolio. But you're right. Like it is, especially in art, like you'd never get mad at two artists displaying similar works in a art. I mean, it would be one thing if copying is there. That's not cool. But like every artist wants to create potentially something that inspires them. And in the modern world, if we're all inspired off of a Star Wars or a movie figure, like they might end up being
and like
close,
and even like copying, it's like I don't like don't replicate one for one what somebody else is doing, like following their calendar release schedule. But if that's what's also interesting you, I don't know if if your artwork isn't in like worst case scenario, you have like the I don't know, I guess the Chinese market is kind of notorious for copying artwork. I kind of think it's like funny to see stuff like I've seen my stuff occasionally on a few times. It's almost like if I didn't see it being bootlegged, that means it's not good enough. I don't. It's because there's a reason for. So if something's not being bootlegged or even like flipped on eBay, it's like some people get all ticked off about stuff getting flipped on eBay. If it wasn't getting flipped, that means that there's not like a demand for it. So it's almost like a necessary evil.
Right.
And at the end of the day, this is just Lego and this is just artwork. Like there's much bigger fish in this world to fry than something that we're this is like a fun hobby, a distraction a little bit. It's like it's I don't know. I don't get too bent out of shape about that. Yeah, it sucks when people are kind of watch. I can tell when people are watching my stuff a little bit too closely, but whatever. I'm not like bent out of shape about it.
It sucks when it hurts the bottom line, and it sucks when it hurts revenue. But I definitely hear you that like if you're being copied, it means you're doing something right. You kill the design, or you
and revenue wise, I've never like. There's so many things that like are out there to make. It's like, is it ever gonna hurt revenue? Like if we want. Like I, as an artist, or as a collector, if I wanted a Deckard minifigure, I might collect every single Deckard minifigure out there. Like I want to see all
people
the
do
takes
groupings
of it,
a lot, yeah.
there's nothing wrong with taking and doing another version of it. It's actually kind of cooler to see the iteration.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I started my account collecting custom Thrawns, and I wanted to collect like every custom
Sure.
Thrawn that was out there, and I got really sick of doing that, so I stopped. But I agree with you. Like I love seeing the different versions from different brands, especially like the brands that I'm a fan of. I like seeing their takes on it because a lot of times they are similar, but they all have their unique twist on it, or they have
Right.
their
Or style,
just-
or yeah.
exactly style.
Or even different type of print, right? Some might have a UV version, and some might have like a pad or something like
Right,
that.
right.
Even
Yeah,
decaled.
so for this Deckard figure, I think my take is a little bit more detailed than my personal taste. I think the market collectors, that was more of an unexplored area with the more hyper detail that you saw towards some of my later figures, or it's a refinement period. I think I probably go a little bit more detailed than what I personally like all the time. So I go back and forth. Maybe that's what some of this Brickwarp stuff is a little bit return to some basics. But with this Deckard guy, I will say the more detailed artwork is a lot of fun to design because you kind of go into these textures that you can't quite do very well with pad printing because so like on the pants of this minifigure, it's like he's got this like chino texture. On this shirt, he's got this like chambray texture.
Yeah.
I guess those are the two textures. His jacket's got like a little bit of like a leather thing on the arm. So it's like you're exploring different. You're trying to like recreate these like physical fabric textures and leather textures on like an ABS background, and so it's like how do those turn out? And it's a really fun. Even the stitches here. I'm looking at this artwork. It's like I was still trying to figure out how to represent stitches back then. And like my first generation is like just very hyper literal. This is still pretty literal, but it's like my stitches were like dots. Just every single stitch was represented. I counted the stitches on some of these, a lot of these guys. Like I knew how many stitches were on this pouch or whatever. And it was like, which is, some people might love that and that's interesting, but it's like, when you like look at a picture, when you physically look at a pouch or pouches are kind of what I designed a lot of because, military, like ammo pouches. But when you look at it in real life, it's like where does the shadow actually hit it? What stitch lines are even getting picked up? So this one I was trying to explore a little bit what the next versions of my stitch lines looked like. So this is sort of one of these transitional figures. It's still pretty literal, but yeah, I don't know if do you put these minifigures in like the recap or how does that work?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
For sure.
I'm gonna put your we'll for sure put your Rick Deckard in the wrap up so we can view it, and if there's any other that we address or that you want to throw in there,
My process, so it was this same process that I do for my military minifigures is I love tracking down as much source information as possible. I like to know the actual name of every single piece of equipment that a minifigure or like a historical minifigure would be wearing. And then I kind of applied the same process here. I found actually the auction pieces for the theater, the props.
Outfit.
Yeah. And it's like
Costume.
it's a crazy weird like undershirt that I don't know if you can track down a picture. I have a picture of it here, but it's like it's some weird stitch lines, it's weird patterns. I love their exploration of like what the future they might be, just different patterns they might be wearing in the future. And that's a cool universe. His tie is hideous. It's beautiful.
Elijah's a big Blade Runner fan, as am I, but I'm
awesome.
a pretty new Blade Runner fan.
That's my favorite sci-fi pistol. I think is his with that acrylic grip or whatever.
Is it the M2019?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what's the Brickarms one? Yeah.
Or that might be.
I think the Brickarms one is the M2019. I actually still need to get that figure.
I'm so bad with like remembering what the names are. It's like I know. Yeah, it's I have it.
Me too. I know all the Brickarms names, but not the.
That's
not the
actually now that I think about it, I wonder if that's one of Will's first overmolds.
I don't know.
Because
not sure.
The one for this figure was it was like a triple overmold though. It's unbelievably gorgeous.
Yeah, so it has one core and then 2 layers, right?
Yeah.
So
and that whatever amber color is just like
it's amazing. Yeah, because I was gonna say that I think Will's like initial overmolds were mostly World War II guns with brown and gunmetal, and those were just 1 core and then 1 layer, right? 1 overmold. but I think I could be wrong. I wish I could ask him, but I'm pretty sure it was one of the first like more than 2 colors overmold, and it's beautiful. It is
in any
fact,
case, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, in fact, if you haven't seen this, I hope everyone listening knows who Adam Savage is, but if you don't, he co-hosted a show called Mythbusters. I don't know if anyone knows that, but he has a YouTube channel now, and in it, he built a replica of Rick Deckard's gun in the movie, and then Will sent him a prop, and he actually reviews the Brickarms pistol
awesome.
on his YouTube channel. That's actually really cool.
We sent him one of my Apollo minifigures, and he got a picture of it with he's wearing the glove. And
no way!
Holding the minifigure. That was kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
If you can find that picture, send that over. We'll put
it
that
somewhere. Yeah,
I
wonder if I.
Yeah, that's way cool.
Is that something I'm supposed to like have posted on the front of my Instagram? Like 1 degree of separation from Adam Savage.
Yeah, Adam Savage approved of my minifigure. Yeah, so I guess maybe before we move on Brickwarp, just kind of your time at Brick Mania. Are there specific designs that you're like most proud of, or that like you like liked the most? I don't know. I was just kind of curious about, because I know you were there for a really long time. So
yeah, I guess obviously the sci-fi ones are it's kind of like a little bit of a treat to make these ones. This is because it's fun.
Yeah.
But I guess the Vietnam stuff is probably what stood out to me the most. Just kind of the history of it is just a conflict unlike any other, at least to my my knowledge of it. I'm not like a history expert, but
yeah.
It just seemed like there was so many nuanced things, and just with the whole Cold War in general, everything, there's so many, every like difficult societal problem was sort of wrapped in on this thing. And the veterans, I like, they were sort of treated like garbage. So I liked that these minifigures were maybe like a way. I mean, I don't know if there's like Vietnam veterans collecting Lego, and that's maybe a little bit whatever, but I do think they didn't get the recognition that, that it's not like they're going into war for recognition or anything, but they were young kids going into these conflicts, and that's true for most conflicts. Like, they're young kids, and it's hard history here, and I'm not pro-war or anything. I'm not it's like I'm not like necessarily pro-military. It does seem like a necessary in our society and in the world. And it's just not so, there's not so black and white. That's true for most things. It's not so black and white as that we're trying to make it with politics and whatever. This is much more nuanced, and so it's Vietnam seems to be kind of like, that's where we first sort of like realized like how complicated this all is, because we media was on the front lines. That's the first time we got kind of uncensored footage out of conflict. Yeah, and now we're watching like freaking like real time like TikTok reels from the front lines, which is just like messing with our brains. So I don't even know how to. Yeah, I don't even know how to address that. That's just unreal. Especially in like Lego, it almost feels like, I don't know. But no, Vietnam is that's kind of the first. I like the history is really interesting. I grew up I grew up in North Dakota, next to the Perimeter Acquisition Radar, and that's the Parsite, and which is now a Space Force base, which is awesome. Like, I move away from North Dakota, and all the cool things start happening there. Like, so yeah, I grew up. One of the I don't remember this, but my parents were telling me when they first like moved in, and it was like they had this armed escort like with like big machine guns, like told them to get off the road, and it was like at the time when they were like transporting the ICBMs out of the silos, and it's like, so most of our nuclear arsenal was or a huge portion of our nuclear arsenal was located in North Dakota. So all the corn, all the wheat fields are there were silos, hundreds of them around where I was growing up. So it was kind of just like steeped in this weird like, it's like I was too young to understand what was going on, but it's like so, like, this is like the power of the world is right in North Dakota.
That's crazy.
So I love that. That Cold War sort of like, technological race, which it ties in with the space race and everything. Like, that was all very, I think, interconnected. That's all. I'm really interested in that. Whatever it is,
Yeah.
Whatever it is. I don't even know what's the word to summarize what all that is. It's
no, you're good.
And insanity of humanity. I don't know.
Did you just do minifigures at Brick Mania, or did you help with? Because I know they have when they print on Brickarms, Perfect Caliber, isn't that what they're called?
Calibers.
Yeah, I made a few of the slams. He's still there. He did most of the perfect calibers. I think I did a few of the first ones.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and some of the later ones, or some just here and there.
Yeah.
But no, like, starting out at Brick Mania, there was like 5 people, so I jumped in during the holidays and filled orders. I parted out kits. I was doing, it was just 2 people printing minifigures. It was
Yeah.
me and camera guy just printing minifigures, and then we started getting on more and more employees to pick up individual jobs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Everyone
did a
had to
little
do
bit
everything.
yeah, and that was a really cool era. It was a lot of fun to work there. In those like kind of like figuring out every single process had to be developed. Like nothing. There was no protocol for anything. It was just like make it up, do it. And that's yeah, and I love that. I love,
Yeah. Kind of open ended.
Just figure it out.
yeah, figure it out.
Yeah.
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 So
As long as you have responsible people who are go-getters in those positions,
Sure.
they're gonna thrive. So yeah. So and then did that all just set you then up for success? I guess to when you did leave to start Brickwarp.
I don't I don't have the back. I don't have the, like, people know I'm doing it, but it's like my email list. Like when you're buying something, it's because it's in your face, especially these days. Like, yeah, I'm sure I have a ton of supportive fans from the past, but it's like they're not seeing my stuff in the same way that they're seeing Brickmania stuff.
Apologies. I mostly just meant, like, did that time at the company set you up for success? Like, what inspired you to start Brickwarp, and what has inspired you?
I really missed those early days of trailblazing and figuring out new processes for the first time. And as Brickmania grew, it's like they have to, as a company gets bigger and you got to get more people on board, it's like you have to kind of compartmentalize, and that's not quite the workflow that I'm good. I don't like doing the same job all the time. I kind of like a bit more autonomy, and it makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. There's not like a clear answer to that, but it just felt like it was a time for something new. And I'm excited for who knows what's coming up. I try to keep it as open-ended as possible. I think a lot of people, when they leave a job, they have this like thought that like you're supposed to, like, screw you, I'm going somewhere else. It's like, why? And like, it's just work, man. It's
yeah. Well,
there's literally no benefit in burning a bridge with somebody.
Right.
Like,
right. Well, and especially after 9 years, like you've
like,
got to be friends and you have personal relationships, and
so and it's like there's a whole network that, like, we're friends with similar people. We're friends with the same people. It's like we've gone out and had a few beers since I've left, and it's cool.
That's cool.
But yeah, I love there's a I'm super grateful for my time at Brickmania, and it's like there's a whole network of people and that's what's crazy about Lego in general is it is like the most accessible art medium that exists. It's like anything else, or more. It's more than just accessible. It's a combination of, it's so accessible, and it's like you have every single age group kind of can get into it for different reasons. So it's like if you look at other things, even like painting, it's like that's not super accessible for everybody. That's kind of messy. It's like whatever. It's hard to get in.
And the barrier skill barrier gap is so difficult with any artistic medium like painting or drawing, versus really anyone with a modern-esque phone can take an average picture of a Lego minifigure, and if you get an official one and you buy a brick arm for it, like, you're out $4 plus shipping,
right?
And you can make a cool post with it,
right?
So
and I even like I'm seeing like quilters clubs getting into Lego. It's like, oh, there's a lot of like patchwork stuff that's kind of like similar to these mosaics. Like, I'm excited to see the Lego kind of branching out to bigger groups. My mom is she's on a quilters guild, which, like, I don't even know what that is. Like,
that's cool.
It's like guilds still exist. She's like fulfilling quests and stuff.
Do they all quilt together to like create big projects?
She goes to
like
a sewing circle, like the circle of I don't even know what sort of, I don't know. It's like, does she get quests from wizards and stuff? The quilting. I'm just coming from like a video game background. I don't know what these quilter guilds are. But so she's made some cool quilts. And
that's cool.
I have a weird, like, I like quilts now. I don't like, it's totally not related, but it's like But I
You
do
need
see some
a-
overlap with like the Lego dots and stuff. Like
Uh-huh.
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, a lot
I
of
was gonna
mosaics
say,
that are coming out now.
I don't know how detailed you can get, but you need to get like a Brickwarp quilt, whether
Oh,
it's just the
dude,
colors or like I don't know.
I'll get her to make a quilt for Brickwarp at some point. I think
There you go.
Brick Mania once every couple of years will have somebody, one of the employees like moms will make like a quilt of like old Brick Mania t-shirts, and
Oh,
like they'll
totally.
auction it off for
Brilliant.
like yeah it's I don't know, it's just like a fun little niche thing, I guess. I don't know.
That's
Quilts
cool.
are
No,
yeah
I like that.
whatever.
Yeah, I think it's
that's
funny
awesome.
too because like one of the things that stuck out that you were just talking about is Lego's so accessible because there's so many avenues. And it's funny because the deeper you jump into Lego, the more avenues you realize there are.
gosh.
Because like I think on the surface level, right, people who are like going down the Walmart aisle in Lego or like checking out toys with their kids, it's they think like, oh, you buy and build Lego sets, or like you deconstruct all the Lego sets and then you like build them with your kids. But then you like jump into the hobby and there's photography, there's custom minifigures, there's
everything.
collecting, reviewing,
There's the military. There's the citizen brick community.
there's modding, there's
overseas
there's custom
community.
printing. There,
I always
just,
thought
like,
it was funny when
mock
kids would
building.
write full like book reports for like their diorama. It's like they have a small diorama and then this like 10-page book report to explain what's going on. Like
Yeah.
you'll see that at the conventions. You'll have like a binder next to this diorama that this kid like wrote up. It's like that kid did that homework for fun. Like that parent has got to be super stoked about that.
They wrote
Oh,
all
yeah,
the lore
definitely.
out for
Oh
their,
my
their
goodness,
battle
yeah.
between three
So-
minifigures.
Well,
Yeah,
I
totally.
remember back in the Flickr days, people would post almost like series. So they
Yeah.
they would.
Oh,
they would
that's still
build a
going
mock.
on. That's still going on.
Oh, I bet. Or like a vignette, and then they would like write like an initial story, and then they'd like post again. And again, you're right. It happens on Instagram now. I see it quite a bit with like, I mean, I'm big into Star Wars, so a lot of like the clone missions, and they'll like write a whole like log of that this clone had. It's really cool.
Yeah. No, it's a really awesome like creative outlet that yeah, it's almost like a universal language in some respects that's sort of what's keeping me like interested in all this, like the bigger like what's the bigger picture of all this. It's really cool. So, yeah. That's where I'm seeing
So-
Lego. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do have to ask you about, another Brickwarp project or product. All your recent hat pack. I kind of want to ask about the process of how it was made too. This can be like a bigger picture question, not just about the one product. But with the hat trio, they're perfect for anyone who's into really needing just custom Lego hats because they work perfectly. I've seen a bunch of specific great uses in the modding community.
Yeah.
But did you create those in mind with the intention of like this is gonna be perfect for the community, like everyone needs these, or was it I want these, I need these for my minifigures and my photos?
There's a little bit of both with that. So I've always kind of trusted my gut on if I think it's cool, it's I can get I it's probably going to be resonate with a few other people.
Yeah.
And yeah, for those hats, it was just items that there's everything I do is not everything. There's a lot of tongue in cheek behind some stuff that I make. Like I'm the youngest kid. I got 3 older sisters, and I'm a little bit of a I don't know. I'm a youngest. I'll admit it. So there's
I'm
a
the
little bit of
youngest
like
too, so
poking the
I'll go
bear.
with
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like there are some like serious issues that whatever. There's 2 different things going on here. But so a lot of the stuff I do, there's sometimes there's a little bit of a humor behind it. I try to sneak that in at least.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
for certain subjects, you got to kind of be more tasteful about things. But yeah, I guess for just like generic hats, it's like everybody, the Carhartt stuff is like you just search up like Carhartt hats and you get all these like terrible photos of like people taking like fall posing photos, and it's just
Yep.
it's exact opposite of what like the Carhartt like working people like. It's not yeah it's not
Yeah.
as blue collar as it once was. So there's some like there's a little bit of a cultural ubiquity maybe to these items. So the net hat pack, I have like an ATF hat, and that was like popular in some memes and stuff. That's kind of where it came from. So and then the pro hat is just everyone's favorite pro fishing company, I guess. Just like it's
course.
stuff that's just like around weirdly, and like everybody sort of recognizes it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not something like a lot of this stuff isn't supposed to be like this revolutionary thing, but it's just like, oh, I recognize that. If I get like a chuckle, I'm like, that's just like perfect. That's exactly what I was going for. Is like a little.
That's exactly
Oh man,
what.
yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah, that's exactly how I reacted when I saw the ATF hat post. Because the post with it too. That's the other thing is I can always appreciate, most custom minifigure brands shoot for this, but I always appreciate when like there's a good product photo to accompany the new
Right on,
product.
yeah.
So
Oh,
like
100%.
it wasn't just, hey, here's a render of our new product. It's like, hey, here's our done product in a photo. Like, you know, you could have taken this yourself. You need it. And that photo was funny. So,
Yeah, it lines up with it. Was just based off the meme, so.
yeah.
No, photos. That's another area that it's nice to kind of get back into that. I had kind of in the midpoint of working at Brick Mania, I was doing most of the product photography.
Okay.
Prior to us getting into the renders in a serious way. And those renders are like gorgeous. Like they're got a great team going on there, and the 3D models that they come up with, kind of like it's all sort of interconnected, right?
Yeah.
So
definitely.
really phenomenal 3D models, and then that the rendering kind of complements that perfectly. But prior to that, it was all photography, and I mean neither Dan nor I had like any professional sort of like training in photography, and so great opportunity. He just sort of threw me into the pit and like learn photography.
Well, it worked out.
Yeah,
They look
it's
great.
fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. So it was nice to all the last kind of few projects that I did that I thought turned out nice would have been covers for the books. Brick Mania has an instruction books for like World War One stuff, World War Two, different like kit instruction books.
Yep.
And the covers, like composing, like building that little mini diorama vignette thing, and photographing it was so much fun. That was awesome. So I used so it was kind of a trench fighting scene. So this is for the World War One instruction book, and he gave me he's like I was just kind of snowballing ideas with him, and he's like, make it based off this Bolt Thrower album cover. So Bolt Thrower is, it's heavy metal, whatever. It's like every single gun is shooting at the same time. So I think Bolt Thrower, they used like Warhammer artwork they used it for their
okay.
so it's like a Warhammer artwork, but then applied to World War One. So look that up, and it's funny.
That's awesome.
Every single gun
hilarious.
is firing, or it's every gun is shooting at the same time in every direction. I snuck in. How did I do this? The minifigures that were active in combat all had the glint in their eyes. The Lego little white speck. But if they were lying on the ground, then they had the classic eyeballs.
Oh no.
So take that for what.
Oh, 100%.
I think.
What you're saying. That's
I think
funny. Is it?
Go modern, let's go.
I want to put it in the wrap up. Is it Bolt Thrower Realms of Chaos? Does that sound
sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like the Warhammer art. Every weapon is being fired.
Yes, that's got to be it. Realms of Chaos. Yeah, that has to be it.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a cool instance of I love seeing pop culture, or not really that heavy metal is pop culture, but I love seeing music influence Lego.
Yeah, that's totally the cover. I looked it up.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I did. Yeah, it's Warhammer's. It's a little bit too like dark for me, but I think it's awesome. Like it's just like hell yeah when I'm like looking. So that's yeah. There's all these themes that I'm kind of figuring. Like, there's a lot of so similar to this crate that I made, right? It's kind of like what's the culmination of all these ideas. That's kind of what I'm doing. What I want to do long term with a lot of products that I want to make at Brickwarp is like, what are kind of these like boiled down, like what's the distilled thing that all these different mediums are looking at. So it's yeah. So I mean, right now I'm at early stages, so I'm doing stuff like minifigures are really freaking hard to produce. There's a high failure rate. It's like you gotta line up like 4+ print jobs on one side. If you get off by like the margins are insane. So props to. I mean, there's nobody that's touching what Brick Mania is doing in terms of like quantity with that kind of accuracy. I tried my best to be kind to the printers with how I design my artwork. Like there's ways you can make your artwork easier to print and visually appear similar. It's like you don't want to minimize where lines cross over surfaces so they don't have to line it up too much. So
Yeah.
it's like end a pocket on the side of the leg, so you don't have to continue some line elsewhere. You know, it's like you can use natural transitions. Anyways, it's Brick Mania is doing a crazy job at like printing quantity of like super detailed minifigures. So it's like it's crazy.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a someday I'll you know, either work with it would be cool to do some maybe commission runs with Brick Mania down the road. We'll see if something like that's on the table, or even just producing my own. It's gonna have to be at a more simple style. Like it's just me working here.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in those sci-fi items, or you know, there's still some historical military that I want to touch on. But it's like, what are the quintessential things that we're all like universally that resonates with us, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's a I don't know. I don't know if any of that made sense, but
No, it totally did.
I've been on like break for a while, so I'm kind of like, you know, it's what happens when you take a break after working at Brick Mania for a while, the gears are still going at 110 miles an hour. So it's
incredible.
yeah.
That's funny.
I do think it's cool that Brickwarp provides a lot of autonomy, right? I don't know, as someone, it's impossible, unfortunately, in engineering, but when you start to learn more about engineering principles and stuff, it's like, well, I want to be an electrical engineer and a structural engineer and a chemical engineer, and right, like you want to do it all. And so I do think it's pretty fun, because as I've gone through, not that this isn't entirely apples to apples, but as I've gone through like different internships and jobs while I've been in school and my master's, it's like, it's fun to see the difference between, oh, I sit down and do the same job every day,
right,
and I do a little of a lot of things, you know, like it's fun to have those different times in your life. But I think that is really cool that Brick Mania offered that at the beginning, and then it's something that you can do now, right? And gives you a lot of flexibility in what you kind of want to do.
And so that's what I would suggest for a lot of people that aren't quite sure what they're wanting to do, is like, man, find a startup in your area, like get in on the ground floor. And it's like, man, if they don't work out, that's still like some great experience, you know. It's if you're in a younger stage of your life where you have a good family support network, where it's like you can afford to fail, like go for it,
to take a risk.
You know, do it. You're young, do it. And because it's like, man, did I really know what I wanted to do when I was 18? It's like when I went in for graphic design, it's like, oh, t-shirts and album covers are kind of cool, like I could make that. It's like, well, now, like, I don't know, AI can probably generate 1 billion of those for me. It's like, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, there's still like you know, there will always be like, did AI, you know, did the camera get rid of painting? It got rid of a lot of painter professions for sure, but like painting is still around, you know. But is it the same thing that it was? Like, no, it totally changed it. Because you know, painters towards the when the camera came around, painters were functioning as photographers.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And the camera sort of replaced all that. But I think painting was better off because of the camera. You know,
painting was able to become its own artistic medium.
That's why we had
to be the
Yeah. That's why we had Impressionism, is because like, oh, they saw the cameras replacing their job. It's like they had to do something that the camera couldn't capture. And I think the same thing's probably going to happen with whatever AI is going to replace. Like, yeah, it's going to be disrupting a job, but it's gonna end up creating more interesting stuff in the long run.
And it could end up refining photography, and in the end,
Yeah, I totally agree with this. I actually had all of us know Hoodie, Griff, and anyways, I was talking to him the other day because I've seen a couple people post about AI for mock building and another billion different things, and then, you know, they have these 6 or 7 little story slides. And honestly, if that's what you want to do, then like that's fine. Like, I'm not trying to haggle or knock anyone down for that. But me and Hoodie were just talking about, and kind of bouncing off of your comment, Lando, is just that like AI is a tool, right? And and it can be really effective and really efficient for a lot of things. And it's really defective at a lot of things, right? Like it can't do a lot of things. And so I think it's not going anywhere. And I think it's a good idea to embrace it and to learn how to use it in like a responsible and good way. And so, being in kind of the realm of cutting edge manufacturing, that's what my master's focuses on. A lot of people that I've talked to before about it, they're like, well, you're just killing jobs. I'm like, no. It creates
No
jobs.
way.
I promise you, it creates jobs. And it's just really interesting how that kind of thing. I know this is completely unrelated to Lego. I'm so sorry.
So I mean, this is in a weird way spot on with what, like, yeah, I'm doing this Brickwarp thing, but it is plugging into like a bigger picture that's been formulating in my brain for many years. You're kind of touching at some stuff of that with, like, the future of technology, man, is technology never reduces jobs. Like, look at where we are at any point in history. You fast forward, any major invention, it's like someone invented the computer. That put a lot of, like, mathematicians out of work, in some respects, whatever. But it's like, did the computer end up creating more jobs or less jobs? I mean, the answer is pretty obvious. Like, there's probably some caveman that's really that like some, like, bucket hauler from back in the day that's really pissed when, like, plumbing was invented. Like, dang it, I had a good job hauling
my profession,
water
everything I've worked for.
It's like, yeah, it's going to disrupt things, but it's I don't know, it's
so
yeah.
Brickwarp is actually AI designs. You heard it here first.
No, I wouldn't go that far. It's not.
I'm just kidding.
The designs are way too simple to be that. No, I don't know, man.
No, of course I was kidding. No.
Yeah, no, it's I haven't. It's interesting. I think AI is more interesting right now. I've like brainstormed with it quite a bit. On, like, it's like, give me, it's great for brainstorming. It's kind of great for, like, back and forth. Like,
I use AI to write messages all the time, and I don't let it be the final say. Like, I always have a ton of input and always do edit it on the input, but I use it for work. I use it for the Legogram communicating. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, right now it's like the pure artwork that it generates is, I mean, you can kind of just you can recognize it after a little bit. Initially when it came out, we were all 100%. Like, whoa, this is crazy.
Wow, yeah.
But it's like, you see the imperfection, and I don't know what it is. And eventually it might just be perfect, and then whatever, who knows?
Well, the funny thing is sometimes it's completely off. Like, I'll say it here first for all the AI haters. I pay the premium version of ChatGPT just because I use it all the time. Like, it has an advanced data analytics tool. It is great. Like, it's really good for streamlining efficiency. And anyways, they just got a new one, which is like I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's just Dolly. It's like DALL-E, and it's an image creator.
Yeah.
And I was just messing around with it one day, and I was like, hey, make it so, like, Darth Vader's playing tennis, right? And the images it spits out, like, we're, like, looking at them like, oh, that's amazing. And then one of my buddies is like, notice the nets behind Darth Vader in both images. Like, that's not where the net's supposed to be, right? And so just, like, obvious things like that.
I mean, this is the early years. I mean, eventually it's gonna be perfect, and
yeah,
which is interesting. It's like it is removing, like, good art is not in any threat. It's like, if you can evoke an idea, like, art isn't about making us feel happy always. So, I mean, good art usually isn't making us happy. It's invoking ideas, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if something just looks cool, that's not necessarily art. That's like a craft, or, well, whatever. I'm not trying to be too snobby here or anything, but it's like, yeah, it's going to probably replace a lot of people who are making just mediocre art. And if they don't have an interesting idea or if they're not it's doing us a favor. We should, if there's a lot of bigger picture things here that we need people dedicated to, and if AI can, sure, these things are fun to do, but if they're not really, like, super meaningful towards society, shouldn't we be dedicating computers towards it instead of people who can truly produce unique creative things? Like, creativity applies to more than just art, I think. I think creativity is every single industry, whatever it is, medical, anything, there's creativity involved. So maybe we should all just...
When there's so much creativity in problem solving, which obviously is needed in anything, any job, any field. Yeah.
So, no, yeah, it's like, my Brickwarp isn't an AI thing, but it definitely is I do like attracting people's attention using Lego to hopefully future projects that I'll be working on.
Very cool.
So whatever that might be, it's I'm a sci-fi nerd. I'm a super optimist about the future and the rate at which we are progressing with technology. It's fun to be a doomer and, like, think that the world's ending, and there's some very serious things to be concerned about, but the rate at which we are progressing technology, it's we have no clue what we're capable of. We're not even getting
Right.
started. That's
Right.
the coolest application I saw recently for AI was somebody recorded like a 30-second video and had it translated to every single language or every single major
Yep,
language,
I've seen this.
Oh, that's cool.
synced up with his lips and the same sounding voice.
Yep.
So it's like we
Whoa.
can kind of talk to everybody. In a few minutes here, we're going to be able to just like universally speak to everybody. And it's like we thought the internet was kind of a leap forward with like information exchange. Now imagine like you can just, there's all these little like hubs of information on the internet right now with based kind of around language. That's all just going to be mixing together here pretty soon, I think. So there's just, it's crazy.
Yeah, I've said
Yeah.
it before. I've never felt so connected than being a part of the Lego community, specifically where I'm buying, selling all over the world, talking with collectors all over the world, hearing viewpoints I've never considered before, in all sorts of things, not just politics. Just
Right.
there's so many different aspects to life, and we're across the world.
Blake's like
living
modern
very different
versus
lives.
classic.
Yeah, that's all we talk about. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Anyways, that's just my. I'm still trying to nail down exactly what this future. I've been working on an artist statement for a long time, and it's like, man, I'm having a difficult time nailing down exactly what the specifics of it are. But, yeah, I'm loving that Lego is making it really just approachable for anybody, and like, oh, it's cool. Like, I don't care that your weird ideas are sci-fi and I don't know, like out there, whatever. But it's like Lego is kind of interesting. So, suckers.
Easy
No.
medium to get into, yeah.
Yeah.
You can just use Lego to tell everyone what you want about technology
Yeah.
and the future.
Well, and
No,
it's
I
cool
love
because like now through Lego, I know. So what, like you guys, what did you two go to college for?
originally audio engineering, but I ended up with a photography and digital media arts degree, similar to yourself.
Yeah. Were you ever in
And-
coffee shop? No, sorry.
Plenty of work done in there.
Yeah,
Yep.
right on.
No,
Yeah, I gotta.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Blake.
Well, no, I'll just clarify. I was doing lots of work in coffee shops,
Oh, yeah,
but I was
yeah.
not working for a coffee
Ah,
shop. But
you haven't
every one of my
paid your
friends worked
dues
at
yet.
coffee shops. I know,
Have-
right?
Doesn't count. Doesn't count.
Yeah, if you haven't worked for a coffee shop, doesn't.
I did
sorry.
photography for 4 different Seattle coffee shops, though, actually. So
See, there you go.
I guess I worked on contract for some
There we
coffee
go.
shops. I can do plenty of latte art.
Oh,
I know
wow.
my
Okay.
coffee. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I spent plenty of time in coffee shops.
Yeah, I'm very unknown to any of that. I don't drink coffee. Probably never will.
I just insulted Lando too because you actually worked in coffee and you were
No,
like,
no,
yeah,
it's
you were in there
fine.
for a couple hours, but
No, it's no insult taken. It's all good.
Yeah, and then I got an undergraduate in manufacturing engineering, and now getting a graduate degree in manufacturing engineering. So
And so-
with a emphasis in this is gonna make no sense to anyone, but industrial IoT or Internet of Things.
Oh,
A
right
lot
on.
of cutting edge stuff. Yeah, it's
And
fun. I
so
love it.
this is what's so interesting about the Lego community is that like, yeah, we all like Lego and we all maybe like our whatever sci-fi, like Star Wars or Bionicle or whatever the theme might be. But it's like you can kind of like instantly have like a little mini team that like, man, you could like start a thing, whatever it might be. It's like you instantly have like a crew of people that are, you generally don't have like uneducated people get super into this hobby, or people that like, it's usually kind of nerds that are, they like geeking out about stuff. So it's not
there's a
necessarily
barrier to entry
uneducated,
for sure. No, yeah.
no,
No,
not necessarily uneducated. That's the wrong word. It's just like different, different whatever. But
Yeah.
you do get
It
people
is
that,
hard
that-
to wander into this hobby.
yeah, you gotta really delve into it. And so like
Well,
right
and there's
there,
a lot of financial barrier to entry too.
Yeah.
yeah,
To,
Well, I would-
to be really collecting.
I would almost
if
say
you go
that,
deep enough, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that it's easy to wander back into Lego if you were into Lego, but you generally don't stay unless you're very committed to it,
Sure.
right? Because of financial and other things. And so yeah, I'd agree. I think most people that I've met in the Lego community who really stick around, and I'm talking 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I think a lot of them that stick around are pretty committed to it, and it's a very and I guess see it almost more than a hobby at times. And a lot of them do, right? They build businesses, and
Yeah.
that the funny thing is that's why I bought a pad printer is because I was like, oh, I know engineering principles and I know how to apply them to Lego. So like, might as well. Sounds
Yeah, it's
fun.
fun. And it's totally fun. I've been running the printer all day, and it's cool when you get the machinery like going. It's nice.
Yeah, I wish I could say I ran the printer all day, but
No,
unfortunately I have to do
that's
school
that
things.
is the that right there is the bane of every single custom Lego enterprise is like, yeah, it's awesome when the printer's running and sales are going, but it's like, man, there's a lot of time in between where
All the downtime.
it's like you're just
So much
so
stuff.
the print these the worst thing about these UV printers, I guess the pad printer is not quite the same, but maybe your ink expires over a certain time. I don't know, but every like I don't know 6 hours the printer has to do like a cleaning
Oh.
cycle, and that's like $5 down the drain, something like I don't
Oh,
know. It's
shoot.
because it spits out a little bit of ink to make sure the ink head is continually refreshed. So I hear it running in the background because it's in my freaking living room. Yeah, I'm running this out of my freaking apartment. That's the
That's
this
the
is
dedication to the custom Lego. Yep.
yeah. So yeah, this is
But every time you hear that,
I
you
just
just
hear
like
it's
think
like
like, ah, just like ink wasted.
because I should have. It doesn't do that. I mean, it doesn't do that if you're printing. It's just because the printing is
Mm.
what keeps the ink head fresh. You got
Oh,
this thing wants to be running fairly regularly. So
I see.
Yeah, I kind of wish that pad printing was a little bit like that.
just
If
forces
you
you.
don't clean and empty the inks and put them in their own little containers and they're not air sealed, you waste a lot of money very fast.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's I wish it was like that, but it's a lot of unfortunately it's a lot of manual labor, a ton of
But
manual labor. But
once you get um the piece like that works really well, you can just do like 1,000 no problem. That's what's
yeah,
awesome.
Not
Easy.
bad,
that's
yeah.
actually very
That,
true
that that's
because it
where
uses
I think
so little
yeah.
ink. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where those things shine. Is like I can print 10,000 like star tiles for a tank or whatever. But and
Yeah.
then this is like a supply chain problem. It's like you gotta sell 10,000 of these tiles, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Well, the thing that I've always compared it to, and Lando, you can totally correct me if I'm wrong, but like for me, I feel like pad printing is or I guess UV to pad is what 3D printing is to injection molding, right? Like pad generally has not that UV is cheap, not trying to say that at all, but like pad printing, especially on the large scale, like a 4 to 6 color pad printer, like you're depending on the quality of it, can be anywhere from like 30 up to $250,000. And so like it's upfront is like really expensive, right? But it scales beautifully, right? Like if you want to print 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 100,000 of something, it's great. And UV, I feel like its upfront cost might be a little bit cheaper. I don't know that much about UV printers, but the nice thing about UV, right, is that you don't have to worry about all the inks and mixing and matching. And so it's like if you want to make 30 of them, then just like make 30. Like
Right.
great.
It's that flexibility. I think the cost. I think there's ways to do it. There's ways to do pad printing considerably cheaper.
Yeah. You
That's
can
very
go
true.
run a
Oh,
manual
super
printer.
true.
Yeah,
Super
yeah.
true.
So
Yeah.
much cheaper.
Considerably cheaper. It's like I'm sure you can get like these crazy advanced ones that are all
Yeah.
automated and stuff. But it's like, man, if you don't need to do that. Like you don't for to start up to whatever.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's not
So
like I don't think they're like losing their value. Or whatever. I think about maybe I think about this from like a monetary standpoint, but it's like I don't think the machines themselves are necessarily losing their value. If you whatever that's
I don't think so, no, because there's so many applications outside of Lego too. Like Lego is such a small slice of what you can do with pad printing
well these UV printers were all made for
and
golf
UV
balls
printing.
and pens, man.
Yeah,
Like that's what they were
yeah.
invented
Oh
for.
yeah, 100%. I was talking to a pad printer that lives in the city where my college is, and he was like, literally, I print shaker bottles, pens,
Yeah.
and I think they're like chalk bags for like CrossFit. And he was like, and I have a whole livelihood on that. I'm like, what the
Yeah.
heck?
Everybody in my immediate family and is getting like custom printed coasters for Christmas this year.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
favorite.
is
Yeah. Go ahead.
is now a good time to mention the brick or the brick badge?
Yeah, for sure.
So Lando was kind enough to create some freaking awesome BrickChat x Brickwarp
Yeah.
tiles, And do you want
Bricks.
bricks?
The one by
Thank
8, yeah, badge bricks. You got, I don't think I've seen you. Have I bumped into you guys at a convention before?
I don't think
I've
so,
only
because
been to,
I've
like, a
only been
couple,
to BrickCon pretty much last year.
Okay, yeah, right on. I haven't gone. Yeah, I didn't go
So
last year.
very, very new. Yep.
But yeah, it's these 1x8 badge bricks are, I guess over the years, one of the more cool things to collect. I mean, especially if you're going to conventions. So this is kind of like from what I haven't been to Comic-Con, but from what I understand that they were doing, like Comic-Con or other conventions will do like fabric little bricks and you stitch them together, and then you can like put them on your clothes or whatever and display all the different conventions that you've been to. So that's where I first saw these 1x8. So the Lego convention started doing that, but they would print on 1x8 bricks and you stack it up. And if you go to Lego conventions, I've seen people like wear entire like vests and top hats that are made out of these event bricks. So it's kind of crazy. But it's also a cool, just not necessarily for conventions, but just for any sort of any interesting thing. It's like how many pieces of flair are you wearing on your uniform type of thing.
Right. How many patches do you have, bro?
How many accolades? Yeah.
So I threw together a nice little 1x8. I got a coupon code, and let's see if I don't remember off the top of my head. I think it is all chat brick 5. So you can use that.
5.
You can use that coupon code on Brickwarp, and that should get you 5% off your order. And I will also throw in this 1x8 brick for free.
Too kind. Heck yeah.
Yeah. And so you don't have to add it to your cart or anything. I'll just use that coupon code. It'll get you 5% off, and I'll throw in that brick 1x8 brick absolutely for free.
Amazing.
But wait, there's more. There's not actually. There's no. It's just that's it.
Well, and I also want to throw out that your site is
Brickwarp.
Consortium.
Oh no, yeah. So Brickwarp will get you there, or LL Consortium, which that's the ominous parent company that I've been put together for taxation purposes. I'm doing other products. I do a whole bunch. I'm doing other things.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff on there.
It's all going to start plugging in. It's all going to start. I'm building. I'm working on it.
I feel like I can start to see. I mean, you obviously don't have all of them out, but there's an underarching theme, it seems.
Oh man, we're just getting started.
I'm so excited.
I actually have your Brickwarp.
Yes,
with me,
you got one.
Yes.
Nice.
So make sure you go check that out.
I don't have an official logo yet. This is what's bugging the crap out. So I'm a graphic designer and I hate designing logos. So it's like kind of the quintessential thing that the graphic designer does, and it's just like, so I've had like a tentative one. I have like a billion tentative ones, but I just haven't pulled the trigger on it. So I like the digital stuff. I like the hand drawn stuff. On this custom brick here, it's actually using one of my fonts. It's the more like stamped looking font is actually I went and bought like a font stamp set, like a metal punch set. Like just with like a hammer, you stamp in the metal, and I stamped in all the letters from that whole set, and I scanned it into the computer, and I digitized this font, because this is what bugs me with distressed fonts. So on your computer, you can like find these like distressed fonts, and when you type with it, it's always like you press the letter A and there's just like a scratch, but it's in the same spot every time, and I hate that. And it's like, so this distressed font set. I actually have another product on my website that it's like a patch set. It's a full letter set that you can have a full distressed font with several variants of the common letters. So you don't get that.
That's genius.
This is totally like a little like OCD, whatever, like, I don't know, detail about fonts.
No, that's so cool, because I know exactly what you're talking about, that like the purchased fonts that you buy look exactly the same. If you have like a logo that has multiple letters, the same letters multiple times, it looks awful.
Look at the Lego typewriter set. They have a typewriter like header, and the letter, I think it was like, I was just looking at this yesterday. I think it's like the letter A or something is like the exact same little like distressed detail. It's like that wouldn't happen if you like are naturally printing on paper, and so it's like they're using a font. They're using the font with the same.
Little imperfections.
I love
That's
that.
Cool. So does this pack of your letters and stuff, does that plug in with the official typewriter set? Well, or is this just for other uses?
Oh, I say that.
I don't have that set.
Oh, okay. So that would be a typewriter font that they're using. Mine is more of like a metal stamp, It's like if you're,
Right. Okay.
yeah, so it's not quite the same thing. I think typewriters are also interesting. Yeah, yeah. I love that manual process that creates that. Like when we made these typewriters, this is the funny part. It's this kind of this like dualism here or whatever. It's like when we made typewriters and font and stamps, it's like we're trying to get this perfection, and like we want this perfect font. I'm going to type the same letter every single time. But what ends up being the most interesting part of it now in this digital age, right, where we do actually get perfect fonts. What's actually interesting is the weird little imperfections that you get on those old school
all along the
fonts
way.
and whatever.
The ink that gets left behind.
Yeah.
On
It's like
paper.
that's what we really like.
Cool.
That's what we kind of resonate with. So, yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, I know I'm just absolutely overthinking it, but it's maybe that's what like an artist. That's the job of an artist, is just professionally overthink things.
No, but I am glad that you got to come on here to explain that, because I don't think that like many people even realize how freaking cool it is that you actually had the stamps to press in for the letters, and that isn't just digitized. Like,
No,
that's
my font. I haven't made it into a font yet. I will make it into a font soon.
That's crazy. I mean, genuinely, if I looked at that again, I half mentioned it, but my wife's a graphic designer, so I'm not an expert on it, but I do totally care about these things, and I love these things, and I've talked with her about making custom fonts, and it's not as easy as people think it is.
No.
And so that's very cool that it's a physical
that physical connection
print that you scanned in.
That's like some of my favorite things with graphic design is the computer made graphic design way more accessible, but maybe in a big way, kind of like too accessible. I don't know. It's like it made it easy to be lazy with graphic design, and I think with a lot of things. That's probably not just graphic design. It's like, whereas back in the day, there's all these processes that you had to go through. Maybe photography is kind of like this. It's like you got like 50 photographs for 1 year, and now like my parents will show me like 7,000 photos that they took this past year on their phone, and it's like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's literally twofold.
Yeah.
One, like, old film photography. Film was just more forgiving, and just looked so much better. The way that light hits film and interacts.
I think so, yeah.
It just captures so much better than the crappy digital. And then you also had that cool era, too, that we all hated, but like the terrible flash digital camera era. Even in the day without the flash, like, it's low quality and it's awful, but there is now something like that, almost like kids are going back to pick up the old digital cameras.
Yeah, Polaroids are back. They're dope too. They're great.
Back, right?
I love them.
And I'm a wedding photographer. I actually shoot film and Polaroids at people's weddings still.
It's fun.
People like it. Yeah.
I think you're totally right though. I think sometimes within a craft, right, like thinking about, I don't know, maybe this isn't as true for modern things, sometimes it is, but I think limitations a lot of times produce creativity, right? Because you have to work around constraints.
For sure.
So I don't know if that was the point. Maybe I just
no. I think that's spot on. It's it's like you had to work harder, or just it's you had to be more intentional, I think, with previous formats. So it's not it's like a double-edged sword with the modern technology. It's you might be noticing a theme here. This double-edged sword stuff. Yeah. I don't know. Dichotomy of it. I don't know. But
I love it. Yeah.
So there's good and bads that we got to be aware of with anything going forward, but
yeah, totally agree.
Well, okay, I do have one more topic that I want to ask, and then I want to also leave the floor open to you to make sure you can cover everything you want to. If there's any topic that you want to address, or any last closing thoughts that you have, please feel free to talk about it. But I do kind of want to just get your take on something that I've gotten into more recently. What is your take on modding?
On modding?
Lego modding, Brickarms modding, the modding community.
Modding is the devil. No, it's not. No, it's cool. I know a bunch of those modders that that was I think in my actually earlier minifig days, like custom minifig, like creating these customs, those modders, those hand painting them, man. It's like it was a little bit opening the door, like conceptually for me, where it's like, oh yeah, it's like what is possible. I mean, I get building with the Lego system and trying to follow the system's rules, and like the purists, right? You can only use official sanctioned Lego products. But at the same time, it's like if something is sort of preserving that spirit of the system. I don't know if that's like capitalized in a book somewhere or something, but it's like it sounds like it should be.
It was in your design book.
It's
for
my
sure.
manifesto. It says something about the spirit of the system. Okay, this is a side rant. Lego didn't invent the brick. Like that was Kittycraft from like the UK, and like they kind of infringed on their patent. That's why the brick is in that's why it's not in metric. It's because it's from a UK system.
Oh.
And
I had no
prior
idea.
to the lawsuit going live, Lego bought them out. So that's why you now like Lego didn't invent the brick.
Interesting.
They did invent the tube and stud interlocking system, but the brick itself, the dimensions are not.
I didn't know
the
that.
The brick itself, the dimensions are not Lego.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think the original brick, I found CAD files for it. I've actually wanted to 3D print and make a reel on it. Jeez, I say this every freaking week. I just need to make a reel. Anyways, but yeah, you can buy the original ones, and if you see them, they're like printed and they have the studs, but there's no interlocking tube. And yeah, system on the inside. It's just It's just like the
Kittycraft
outside
is the
walls.
original. If you want to be a purist, you can only build in Kittycraft bricks, which I don't even know if you can get them.
We're putting it in the
It's like
wrap
the
up
1950s or something.
Yeah.
I don't know when those. Whatever. But I do respect like, yeah, when you see something, it's that uncanny valley. When you see something that's not Lego, it's like that's not Lego. It's like when these Brickarms guns get too detailed. Not Brickarms. He does a pretty good job. But when these like third-party guns get too complicated and third-party whatever, it's like that just doesn't look Lego. So it's like that probably like I wouldn't use that. There's certain custom companies that I've avoided because it doesn't look right. And so I think the same thing holds true for modding. It's really cool when you get the Warhammer guys to like paint up these like perfect, weird, detailed figures, but it's like that's like not Lego. But it's really cool. Like it's like I can't deny that it's like super skilled and really, really cool.
Yeah,
But-
I'm in plenty of group chats where some of those, I would say, like, mostly overseas customs are sent
Yeah.
to, and we're like, is it even Lego at this point? Like,
But
you
it's
can't-
so cool what they're
It
doing.
is so cool.
But
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like
Yeah.
this is some weird mini sculpture. I don't
But
know
it just
what this
wouldn't
is.
fit in with anything
Yeah.
in my collection. So, like,
Yeah,
my
exactly.
desire for it just isn't there. Yeah.
Yeah, but and it's it's like I see I've like attended talks at Lego conventions where it's like, is the poly bag an official build element? It's like I don't like I don't know if I want to get this
Oh
in
my
depth into this hobby. It's like I don't know if this is how deep we should be going.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's like bigger fish to fry, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
My thoughts on the modding, yeah, it's awesome. It's a lot of fun. Cut your plastic up. Don't be afraid of that.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an art medium, so it's like it's like, yeah, you want to. I think as long as you're remaining in the realm of this, again, the spirit of the system, whatever the heck that means.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let a corporation dictate what's the legal builds. Like they're for profit, dude. Like they don't care about you,
I love it. That's a fantastic take.
dude.
And on your mention of scale, yeah, I have a modded AWP whatever something sniper rifle that I made right when I was starting out, and I'm really proud of it. I spent like an hour on it, but the scale, it's just too big.
Yeah.
It's like it would be perfect for like a Playmobil minifigure.
Yeah.
But the Lego minifigure, it's like taller, so it's just frustrating.
Dude, plate
I gotta
feet
get better at the
minifigures.
scales.
The modders are about the plate feet. You put a 1x1
I
plate on the bottom. That
I know,
minifigures.
but I have too many friends that are plate feet haters.
Oh no, that's the
They'd
future of
roast me to no end.
minifigures. Future of
Give it
minifigure
the better
modding is plate
proportion.
feet. Yeah, it's perfect.
Lando, you're putting out a controversial
I'm a
take right
plate
now.
feet. I'm a plate feet aficionado. It's
All right, you're
not
heard it here
aficionado. I
first.
don't know about that.
I love
Now
it.
you got a UV print another one for the cons that just says plate feet aficionado.
Oh, you should put out a minifigure that has some ridiculous shoes that are.
Dude,
like,
I have the mod made. I got some Adidas 3 stripes, man.
There we go.
It's there.
Oh,
It's
heck
there.
yeah.
I'm waiting for their lawyers right now. Let's get some Adidas officially
Cease and
sanctioned
desist.
plate feet. Let's do it. Then you
there we
can't
go.
argue with it. If I get Adidas on board, you're not going to argue if plate feet are
I'm not
legit
going to
or
argue
not.
with that. No, 100%. You'll have me on board if you get that.
It's official, man. Adidas said so. Plate feet are the way to go.
If the for-profit company says that it's okay,
Absolutely.
it's okay.
If Adidas or Lego say it's legit, then it's legit.
then you should do it. Oh, that's
Absolutely.
hilarious.
Full
So-
disclaimer: Adidas did not support me or endorse any of my statements.
Right, I was gonna say I figured you're joking, but yeah. Oh, that's funny. So, any last closing thoughts or anything you want to say or promote before we go into Stud or Dud?
Oh yeah,
Obviously,
so
you've got Brickwarp and yeah.
closing thoughts, dude. So this is again, this is a bigger picture that I'm trying to delve into, and I love the Lego medium for reaching out to so many different people of expertises. I was talking to a guy that was like a defense contractor, like evaluating like the strategic threat of North Korea, and like I was like, should you be telling me this? Like, it's like you just bump into just like random. I know a guy who owns like the mineral rights to the surface of the moon. It's like that's what he says.
That's cool. Huh.
That's what he says.
But it's I love so I don't know. I guess if you're listening in or whatever, just I encourage you to just follow along with what I'm doing because I'm figuring out kind of as I'm going. There is a I have a 5-year plan. I also have a tentative 50-year plan. So if you feel like there's some stuff that I'm touching on that your expertise might help me out at, man, I don't think I can do this by myself. Whatever this is. So just I guess stay tuned, and if you feel like you could like chime in at least to say hi, that'd be cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will reiterate that's very cool. Obviously, that everything is part of a bigger picture, bigger plan. But I'll reiterate on the small point or small.
Oh yeah,
picture
Brickwarp. It's
part
cool. There's
that-
Lego. I sell some Lego.
Cool.
It's fun.
And I was gonna say, make sure you go use the code. Was it ChatBrick?
Yeah. Let me double
And
check.
get that,
Chat Brick 5.
Get that free brick.
Chat
ChatBrick
Brick
5.
5 for a whole whopping 5% off off your order, and I will throw in this badge brick.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, this is
Let's
an
go.
exclusive badge brick.
Actually,
Thanks again for doing that.
Yeah, no problem.
Blake and I think we've talked about this on a past podcast, but doing a live episode at one of the cons, that would actually be really fun.
Yeah. I've seen some people do
that'd
that.
be
Yeah, you gotta watch out for your gain on your microphone, but that's kind of about it, right?
Right.
But
Make sure we're recording.
I wonder what the conventions are doing because I've heard there's talk of like what if everybody becomes an influencer and becomes a podcast that goes to a convention. And just have like 1,000 people running around.
Yeah.
No, it's
I know
cool.
Interviewing
1,000
each other,
on the
yeah.
bricks, all with a microphone and a camera.
I feel
person.
like the podcasts are a little bit more of a. It's harder to get into podcasts because it's a little bit more like you gotta spend a bit more time with the editing and stuff. Whereas like, I mean, whatever. It's however deep you want to go in any medium, it can be as complicated as you want. But it's if you just go live streaming on your Instagram account, that's kind of like that's a bit different than like putting together a suite for your podcast.
Yeah, 100%.
total
100%.
recording episode. Yeah. Yep.
I think I just like ticked off a bunch of like influencers now, so I don't know.
No, it's okay. I don't think that I want anyone listening who just walks around to LegoCon live and
Oh
just
no,
talks. No, I'm just kidding.
I know those.
I
Dude,
got
Blake,
love
I
for
just had the most random thought in the world, but okay, bear with me here. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this before, but have you ever seen I swear I see this most around the holidays, but when people will wear suits and they're like all decorated with a bunch of different graphic design that's like Santas or like Christmas trees or stuff. Have you guys ever seen this?
Is it like an ugly sweater kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of like an ugly sweater, but it's like a horrendous suit just because it's like littered with a bunch of different graphic design things. I was like, what if we could get custom ones made with just the BrickChat logo everywhere, and we just wore it all over the
Ugly
convention?
BrickChat. No, it's what's cool about the badge bricks at conventions is throw in a bunch of extra ones that you want to trade, and like it's
Oh, that's a
dude,
good
trading is like people will trade. They'll have an extra brick on there that they might have one or two of. It's like so bring it if you get pick up some extra bricks of these badge bricks. I have some just generic ones like Minecraft TNT blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just
You have a cool pine one.
pine.
As well?
It's yeah.
Yeah.
Not the most popular seller. I'll be honest. It's just it's kind of like when a person's like, oh, it's got to speak to somebody. It's like, oh, that's an air freshener logo.
Exactly. Yep.
And I'm glad when the people appreciate it, but that's not like a mass item. But it speaks to people.
yeah.
It's gotta.
Yeah, your products at least speak to me. Lando.
Good. I appreciate that. There's got to be at least dozens others that also resonate with that. With car air fresheners and generic crates from 90s video games.
And sunglasses. Yeah. Which, once again, just is a fantastic head. So
yeah, thank you. I hope to do a lot more of those 360 printed ones. Those are fun.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. Getting the full wrap print. So speaking of cool products, we love to do a little bit of consumerism, capitalism on this channel.
Let's do it.
On this show. So yeah, we've got stud or dud, and basically, Lando, we'll just we'll go through I think 4 items, maybe 3 items, and we'll let you go first. But you'll just say stud or dud, whether you would buy it, not buy it. You don't have to have physically or
I will.
literally bought
no,
it.
it's just cutthroat. You have to.
It's a binding contract.
Yeah. You gotta put your money where your mouth is. No, but you just kind of give us, why you would like it or why you don't like it.
Sure.
And yeah, we'll send it to you on Instagram too if we can't.
Or you could try to describe it as best you can.
just off of.
I want
my
to hear.
description.
No. I don't want to see the Instagram picture. I want you to describe it to me. If you're putting me in this position, I'm gonna make you. No, sorry.
All right.
Let me pull up Instagram here.
I think you'll know some of these though.
Okay.
Elijah, you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I can go first. This one probably shouldn't be too surprising. In fact, hold on. Let me find the post real quick. And again, you have probably seen this, but maybe you haven't. Who I don't really know.
I'll also say that this one will, if it's the one I'm thinking of, I put this on the list because Will posted a picture of a bunch of the individual parts of it, so I know that a bunch more are coming down the line or down the road of an old product.
Yes, so I don't even know if I can find. Do you have a picture of it? You might know what it is, but it's.
I have a picture of the old one.
Yeah, it's the Brickarms. I was gonna say I might have it, but
it's Brickarms.
It's the Brickarms Wonder Waffle. If you ever played Call of Duty Zombies.
Yeah, a little bit. And there's a new one out? No.
So it's. He posted pictures with the blue bulbs, which I haven't seen many of. So my assumption is it's the same Wonder Waffle, but he's probably going to make a couple, distinctions between them. But I doubt it's any different than the original mold.
Okay, so not only is this a stud, but if you don't pick this up, you are morally a bad person. No, yeah, it's cool.
I agree with that actually.
Yeah.
These are a pretty crazy little work of art in there. I have 1 or 2 in my collection.
Oh, nice.
And actually, we would at Brick Mania every Halloween we would produce like a crate, and it was just we would remix the colors, and it wasn't lined up with the video game necessarily, but it was just kind of cool. He's got a bunch of different vial colors and colors of that gun, but it always is a weirdly complex gun, especially with those things plugging into it. I have a opposite of overmolded. It's just that inner brass part. So it's
the core.
It's prior to it being overmolded. Yeah, the core or whatever. Yeah, and I have a sprue of that in my collection. That it's I don't even know what it's like. I can't use this for anything, but it's just fun to look at. So
that's super cool.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's definitely a stud.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm also gonna say absolute stud. I actually think, and listen, this is no disrespect to anyone else that injection molds parts, and some of them are doing overmolding and some of them aren't, but I think it is the most complicated and impressive mold for a Lego piece I have ever seen. Because I'm pretty sure just the gun itself has 3 or 4 layers, right? 1 core and a couple more plastics on the side, and then he uses 5 or 6 or 7 molds just to get that thing, because there's several overmolded parts. There's a press fit part. It's just so incredibly complicated and so cool, because as far as I understand, all of Will's overmolds are all done in-house on his own machine.
Yeah, the first gen
just because
is what he typically does himself, yeah.
Yeah, just because you can't really do production overmolded parts because you literally have to load things back in the molder.
Right.
And if you know anything about injection molders, if that thing closes, you're dead. You got a lot of pressure there. So, Yeah, he does it all himself, and the fact that he has to take out each piece when they're done and fit them into a new piece, and then he has to count for the fit in the new piece and if it shaves off any ABS plastic. It's literally the most insane thing, and like I literally have one just because I stare at it and just think, wow,
I
how did you
totally
do
I love
this?
seeing I love figuring out where all those injection mold lines are. I'll do that now with ever since like looking at Brickarms stuff. I like any sort of plastic injection molded part. I'm just like
Yep.
following like the line of it, like where are the pieces? How many pieces is this? Like, yeah, it's
Oh, I do it every time I pick up an injection molded piece. Actually, when Blake and I were first meeting, he was asking me some engineering questions, and he was like, "So, like, tell me about injection molding versus like resin." And I like took out a plastic piece that I have an example of, and I'm like, "This is the parting line, and here are the draft angles, and this is the mold dimple, and like these are the let's see, ejector pin marks, and like." You can literally dissect. It's so fun. I should shut up now. Blake, what do you think?
so yeah, Blake, I want to hear yours. Go for it.
No, I was just gonna say stud. I managed to track one down after not like a long time of searching for it, but like obviously it's been out of commission for so long. And then literally 1 week after I did, will announce that he's running a bunch more. So I'm genuinely not frustrated at all, because I'm just glad whenever one of the old molds gets rerun and we get to see more of them. I will definitely be trying to pick up another one.
Right on.
Stud. Yeah.
No,
What were you gonna say though?
the one part that I really like the injection molding of is actually just the standard Lego, the orange brick separator, because it's injected.
Oh, I think I've seen that.
It's at a weird it's at a 45-degree angle. Most parts are kind of just like it just is a cool. It's how they did it is nice, because I think it's just a 2-part mold, and you wouldn't it's a surprisingly complicated piece for how simple the mold is. I could be totally wrong on how I think
No, I'm pretty sure. So I'm pretty sure it's a 2-part mold, and then the reason or the way that they get the 45-degree, well, they could get it through a couple. I need to look at the part, but if
it's
if
just
like
the molds like I can't. I'm trying to like explain this over a mic. I'm like using like hand motions into my mic. I can't do this. No, it's the mold slides apart at a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, so
because
they
that
use something
pin
called
sticks out. You know, you
slides.
got a lot. The
Yeah,
mold goes in the
slides.
direction of the pin and the underside, where the anti studs. What do you call them?
Yes,
Anti
correct.
studs, the
And
stud
so
hole,
in that
stud
case-
holes, anti studs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
D studs,
The
not D
anti-studs,
studs,
yeah.
Studs.
not D studs.
But yeah, in that case, then it would use a slide, right? Because the CNC mill can't really get in
Yeah,
there,
so that's if you're interested in injection molding, then this Brickarms is definitely a gateway drug of sorts, I guess.
Yeah, I had never cared about the way parts were injected or on the sprue or anything until I started collecting like Brickarms
Right.
and specifically was able to pick up items still on the sprue in Workshop
Yeah.
Wonders. And then I was like, oh, this is so cool
Yep.
to see all the little tanks of the tiny toys on the one sprue together. Just, yeah.
It's amazing. It's so fun. Shout out to Brickarms for like the 12th time on this podcast.
Yeah, shout out
I
Will
talk about it too
to
much.
like every episode.
I know.
All right,
So-
Elijah, you got our next item.
Yeah, do you want me to do it? So,
Yeah.
you've probably seen this. It's from Lego. It's an official set. It comes out this next February. I think we've already talked about it on the podcast, but I know you're big into the military scene, and this is obviously like futuristic military, but it's the ornithopter from the new Dune movie. I don't know if you're familiar
Oh
with
yeah.
any of that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I
Yeah, like
went
a little dragonfly ship.
I went and Slam, my former coworker at Brick Mania. He's a huge Dune fan, and he lent me his copy of Dune that he had read at Burning Man, like back in the day.
Oh, what?
So it was all this tattered
amazing.
copy of Dune. It felt important to read, I guess.
Wow. Yeah.
But no, I think that movie did an excellent job. So yeah, I quick read the book prior to the movie because I wanted to read the book first. It had been on my list for quite a while. Yeah, so I thought the movie did an excellent job, kind of capturing. I like their visual universe that they created for it. So, as far as the Lego kit goes, I think it's a little. Is it a little oversized? That was my first impressions of it being a bit oversized.
It's actually quite. I feel like it's quite undersized.
Oh, it's undersized.
Because I swear I was watching the actual unveiling of it, and the guy said that the scale of the model is a 1:23.
Oh, I guess in my
So
head, I
apparently
would.
the ship in the universe is like enormous.
I guess in my head, I
but
picture those. What is onthra? How do you say that?
ornithopters.
Okay, yeah. In my head, I picture that to be like a smaller helicopter, kind of like Little Bird size. But maybe that's just my if I had to guess. I haven't actually delved into the lore, the official lore.
You're good.
The deeper you go into lore, man, there's like I don't know, diminishing returns, man. It's,
You start to hate it more and more as you get too much detail.
or it's
about
like,
things.
where does the
No, I'm
lore?
just
If the lore all came from one person, that's a bit different. But it's like, I don't know. When you start like making lore for the sake of lore, it kind of, yeah. I'm not gonna get too.
I get
I'm not
that,
gonna
yeah.
get too political on Star Wars here, but no.
No, oh, you don't have a problem with the fact that we won't go into that. I love hating on Star Wars.
no.
Though.
Lord of the Rings is my favorite fantasy, so I don't need any more fantasy genre stuff. So
Yeah.
sorry.
Lord of
no.
the Rings is amazing.
No, there's just too many topics. That's the one negative about the podcast. Honestly, is like
Suck at Star
these
Wars. No,
episodes
it's
aren't
joking.
like 6 hours long.
Yeah, right.
We could just actually talk about it.
So as far as the, say it for me one more time, or I can never say it.
Ornithopter.
Ornithopter.
It's a weird word.
See,
I had to like practice it. In the
I
mirror
probably
before
like
we
read
jumped
it
on the
wrong
podcast.
incorrectly, and so now that's just like, oh, I can't. Whatever. Yeah. It's cool seeing Lego do it. Is there like a no? I'm gonna say dud. It just seems too big to me. Maybe I'm incorrect, but I'll probably be kicking myself about this one. No, whatever. My initial gut reaction was too big. It's a sweet set though, so I'm torn here. I'm gonna have maybe like a mini scale one, then I'd be like totally on board.
Yeah.
The dumb scale,
Microfighter.
the weird like city scale that Lego does with everything else, where it's like fun play size. Absolutely, I picked that up. Worst answer. You got me. I'm torn.
No,
The
that's
minifigures are
that's
dope.
good.
I loved so if it now I'm going back here. If it's just for the minifigures, man, I love the what's that big dude? The big
With the
floaty
cloth
dude.
cape. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Baron something. I can't think of his.
The Harkonnen. or
Yeah,
whatever?
Baron Harkonnen. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that was really funny to see them do that. It's an interesting like lineup for them to choose, because that's not exactly a PG.
No.
Right?
I was gonna say there's definitely a lot of war in that movie.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, and the
particularly
funny
PG
thing
on
is I was listening to the guy who unveiled the set earlier today, and
violence
he
is
was
fine as long as it's so we can distract ourselves from the reality of it. I guess.
Yeah. And they were like, yeah, we weren't gonna do Baron Harkonnen. And the more like our design team talked about, we're like, he doesn't fit with the set, but like just throw him in there because like you got.
Oh yeah, that is really random to be in that set.
Yeah, 100%, because he has nothing to do with the ornithopter at all. and then they're just like, like
Why not?
why not? Go for it.
I wonder if
I know.
it's just that like they want to make sure that it's a successful set, so they're actually throwing the everything at it. So
How
that
could it not
sells.
be? How could it not be a successful set? Like that's got like, you know.
Yeah, when
That's gotta be
when just like the title or like what the set was gonna have leaked, I know everyone posted and they were like, I don't even care what it looks like, I'm gonna buy it. Like
Okay,
everyone. So,
Absolute
And-
stud for me. Wait, I said drop. Never mind. No, not drop. Wait,
you
stud or
changed your
dud.
mind.
Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. The copper drop is the natural
Copper
like
drop.
go to. Yeah. No,
Dud.
and I'll say a stud to disagree with you a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. But I will probably end up picking it up. I don't know the lore or history of Dune at all, so I've like watched the movie. I'm pretty sure I read the book years ago and didn't finish it, which is awful. So I'm probably gonna have to go back and reread it.
You should watch the even better movie that came out prior.
Oh, the original Dune movie.
It's not better. It's pretty
Different.
crazy. You should just watch it.
All right.
Don't read any reviews. Just watch it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Blake, this is my
It was
originally
originally.
check-in.
Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry, go ahead.
It was supposed to be like an 18-hour movie, apparently, according to the director.
Oh, okay.
It's a whole thing.
I've seen some clips of like I'm pretty sure maybe just the CGI from the original, like VFX artists breaking down the CGI in the
Because
original Dune.
was it David Lynch that directed it, and he didn't want his name on it after he finished?
Oh jeez,
Don't
I have no
know.
idea.
Oh gosh.
Like, pretty big name director, like didn't want to be associated with it afterwards.
That's not a good sign. Oh, that's funny.
No, I like how their bullets they have like shields, so it's like they have to use knives. That's like a great explanation for, I like that. There's some cool, the universe is interesting.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The shields and like something trying to get through it.
Yeah.
And then you so yeah. Anyways, I won't just break down how I think Dune is cool. I do though. Yeah.
Yeah, very very cool universe. It's a stud for me. I'll definitely get it. And I think it's just so unique to Lego, which I like to see because I wish they would produce other sets, Interstellar. But yeah, there's a lot of things that I wish Lego would do. But you know what? That's for another time. But yeah, it's a stud for me. Blake, this one I actually don't even think. I just thought about it while we were talking.
Mm-hmm.
It's technically not an actual product yet. This is a render / design. But I believe the company wants to print it. I've been following them for a little bit, and I know that this is something they want to do. But going back to a little bit of the beginning of the podcast, this is a Rick Deckard designed by Cobalt from Cobalt Custom Bricks. So let me send this to you, Lando. Okay, there's that. And then Blake, do you know what I'm talking about?
No, send it to me too.
Okay. I was gonna say I was once looking through Cobalt's early designs and things that he hasn't made yet, and this was one of them that I saw, and I was actually really I personally really like it, but yeah, I don't know. Take a look.
Ooh.
See what you think. If it does help, it will be when it's made. It will be printed in pad. Cobalt does exclusive pad printing. So, yeah.
Let me see. Okay, so I'm gonna go over the pros and cons first. I do like the simple. It's a nice simple aesthetic that I think is in line with what Lego's doing. The face. So that's a pro. I like that. The face. Oh, the tie is a bit small, but it's probably accurate in terms of scale. The tie just seems small to me. The face, and I'm guilty of this too with designing faces, is that wrinkles look like age. And he looks a little bit old. And
that's fair, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So he looks a little old, and admittedly, I thought that Harrison Ford's face. That's the right actor, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not super great with. Whatever. Yeah. That I thought his face is a little bit tricky to capture compared to some other ones that I've done. So, but I have not heard of this brand, so yeah. In terms, if I were collecting a Deckard minifigure, I would definitely, this would be a stud. I'm not collecting right now minifigures, so this is I'm in that like taking a break a little bit phase. So I will have to pass on this one. It is a dud. It's maybe the face. Maybe that's what's doing it for me.
I appreciate that full answer. I would say, for me, it would be, we've used this once or twice before on the podcast, it would be a tile. Not quite a stud, not quite a dud. I would buy this if I saw it as a finished figure, but I've been so burned by recent situations that I'm not going to pre-order this. And so, like, basically, yeah, if I saw this as a finished figure, I think it'd be a stud. Yeah. I think it's a cool fig. I'll say stud or tile.
It is a cool fig, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Cobalt. I could be wrong here. And
when did he pop up? I haven't seen this individual.
Cobalt is super new.
Right
Cobalt,
on,
yeah.
So no offense. I'm not as active on the online communities as I was previously.
That's
and
okay.
I do see a ton of companies popping up. So
honestly, in many cases, it's probably a good thing.
There's so many recent pop-up companies too, and that's like kind of was the hope for BrickChat, was that we could just talk to all the new brands that haven't been in the game as long, and then it's really cool when we get to talk to veterans like yourself who have designed a lot of figures, worked on a lot of projects.
Yeah, so he popped up like actually making figures. Well, to be fair, he's so new. He started pre-orders probably a couple months ago. So he uses that model, kind of the pre-order model.
Yeah.
Get a little bit of cash flow in, get some pad printing and
I don't mind the pre-order like on occasion, but I don't know. Maybe I'll change on this at some point. But I'm try. Yeah, I would like to see stuff ready to go when it drops.
Yeah,
More so,
I'm
I can
100%.
forgive an occasional release, or I can understand like a something special that you want to do pre-order.
Yeah,
But I want to say I encourage a lot of these newer brands to just, man, like, bite the bullet, go ask like a relative for some financial backing and just do it.
yeah. See, I 100% agree with that. It's especially if, because to be fair, and obviously Blake and I aren't going to name any names. We don't want to do that here. But just like a lot of the times it gets very much out of hand, and just becomes a problem. Like they're and again, not going to name any names, but like there are certain figures I can think of that I've had pre-order almost 2 years, and it's like, come on now,
Gosh,
like
I have that much flexibility. I can play. What am I doing? I mean, I gotta get on this pre-order game, dude.
No,
2 years.
do not start
Lando's like,
that.
let me switch. Pre-orders are now a stud.
I didn't know that.
We're working hard to end the pre-orders of years. Yeah.
But yeah, Cobalt is, in fact, yeah, he's just been a really cool guy, and
That's cool.
And I know, although he's doing the pre-orders, he really is trying to communicate quite a bit with his customers and make sure that they are completely in the loop. But yeah, so he recently did some Star Wars ones, but
I
know
like that
he kinda
Vader.
wants to-
That Vader, is that his custom mold or custom elements? That's cool.
Yes,
Yeah, and it's gonna be
he teamed
steel
up with
molds too.
Steel.
Yeah,
What?
steel
Yeah.
molds. So it's gonna be. I think that one's gonna look fantastic.
I know a guy. I know a guy. Wait, steel molds or steel parts?
Steel molds.
molds.
Okay, steel. Is
Which
there a
we
difference?
say, and they specifically say, because there's so many overseas brands who are very unclear about their manufacturing process. We are guessing based on some of the intricacies. We haven't proven it ourselves, but we're assuming that some of them are just resin casts or
Yeah.
much lower quality injection molds. And so it was distinct, at least.
Yeah,
when you put it in its
basically in the
release.
tier of injection molding, the lowest possible you can get is resin printing a mold and injection plastic into
Yeah.
it.
And
And
how
I'm
much you get? A
pretty
couple
sure that's
hundred out
where-
of that.
You maybe get
If that.
Oh, really? I
like
didn't know.
it depends. It depends on the quality of the resin and how high temp the resin can get. But even high temp, like Soraya Tech resin, will be like, you'll maybe get 30 or 40 shots before you start
Oh,
getting
not even that. Okay,
heavy
wow.
aware. Yeah, just
Oh,
because
no,
there's so
those
much,
imperfections that's marketing. You gotta sell. You just gotta sell that as a.
well, just like with so much flowing
shots.
plastic and the heat, and there's just so much friction,
Yeah,
and you
that makes
just
sense.
really start to wear out molds. So that's like the lowest tier, and then aluminum is the next. But aluminum, you can use hundreds, if
Yeah.
not thousands, of
That's
injections.
what I
before
think.
you
That's
roll
what
out
Lil's
wear out
doing
molds.
with his initial ones.
Yep, they're all, and actually aluminum's really smart because in most molds, sorry to get nerdy here, in most molds you have to like cut cooling chambers or cooling lines in the mold so that air can escape and different things and make sure that it cools off, because steel localizes heat, so it'll keep heat in a certain spot, and you don't want that for injection molding. You want the parts to
interesting.
cool as quick as possible. And aluminum, this is actually the reason aluminum's so hard to weld, is because aluminum doesn't localize heat. It escapes really fast. So like,
Oh
if you're
yeah,
ever
and you
welding
want that heat
aluminum,
for welding. That makes sense.
yeah, you really want like a weld nugget in a specific location.
a nugget.
So it's great for injection molding though, because you mold, don't have to cut any cooling chambers and run water through it or whatever, and the heat will just naturally escape through the material, just because it's just how it does it.
Right on.
So it's great for Lego. It's Will's a genius for using it, just because you get pretty good lot sizes. It's a cheap material.
And I think he
shot
just
sizes.
recuts it when his personal ones.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
like why
Yeah.
not?
He just has some mini mills and he's like, run them.
No, I thought you were saying like metal parts. I was like, whoa. I know a guy.
I do know some people that do that too. Yeah.
I know a guy for in town here that does. I'm interested in this for some 3D printed. It's actually with filament metal printing metal.
I have seen this. Yeah. I could be wrong here, but basically you mix powdered metal into filament and then you 3D print it and sinter it.
Yep.
And then it just,
which is
it's
cool.
not, it's not fully
Stratasys
full,
like
but-
abandoned that. They were trying to figure it out. Stratasys is one of the bigger prototyping ones, 3D printing companies.
Yeah, I know. What was the new one that recently came out with? They have like a big filament 3D printer, metal printer that you center with, and I can't remember what the brand is called, but it's pretty cool.
The one I've heard of is Marked Forge.
There it is,
Yeah.
Marked Forge. Yeah, they did that one because people like binder jet and center and stuff like that, but the actual filament, no one's really cracked the code until fairly recently.
It's cool. I toured a shop of theirs, and it's it shrinks like 20% or something like that.
Yep.
This is so bizarre.
Yep.
But they were getting
Good
like
old
threading on it
sintering.
and stuff, so it's like it's
Oh
accurate.
yeah. You can get pretty. Honestly, the only problem with it is just metal density. You really only get like, I think it's like 96 to 98%, which you wouldn't think is a big deal, but
Does it?
there are voids, and it depends on the part, right? It can be really important. So.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyways,
if you're
no
throwing
metal
like an
Darth
intricate-
Vader helmet yet, but we'll see.
Not yet, apparently. No.
Dang it.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
Sorry, Blake, I'm going off here. I've hijacked the episode.
If-
Let's bring it
No,
back.
I love it.
If that Deckard was made out of solid metal, that would just obviously I would
That'd be
absolutely
stuff.
pick that up. Yep.
Yeah. So
Next time.
So, I want to kind of end the podcast with one last question. It's not really a stud or dud, but I feel like maybe it's an appropriate way to end the podcast, or maybe it'll be awful. But my question is basically, I've been told by friends that I have to ask this question to you.
Uh-oh.
What was the thought behind the toe printing on the... Oh, crap, what's the figure? Let me pull it up.
Which
Let me
one?
pull it up. What was the thought process behind toe printing on the Top Gun figures? Someone commented, no regrets, but it's been 4 years, and my friend wants an answer.
No regrets. Oh my god.
Oh, you commented no regrets, I think?
Did I comment that? Oh, okay.
Or someone
Did
commented.
I comment?
I think you commented no regrets.
My Lando bot is wild on the internet, just like commenting on my behalf. What is the thought? Is there thought that goes into toe print? I think that's just like, I think there's absence of thought going on there. No, I'm trying to remember like.
Here, I'll send you the picture
So,
too, because it comes with a good
first-
graphic. We'll put it in the wrap up.
I always think it's Lego. So again, I always base, my artwork's derivative of the Lego style, right? So I'm just paying homage to the trailblazers at Lego, and the mummy from the Adventurers series. It's got some fairly detailed
Toe printing.
toes. I don't know if that was, so it's a derivative of Lego. Is my scapegoat there.
Okay.
Where's the picture? Which
I
one
just
was
sent
it?
it to you. It's the graphic
it's
that
so
says Dan
great.
wants you to send toe pics to Brick Mania's DMs.
Oh, those. Oh, dude. So those. I didn't. Those toes. I think they're again. The Lego struck again. With the Yetis.
Oh yeah, the CMF Yeti.
So yeah. I think that was derivative from there.
Oh, that's too funny.
I unintentionally, I've inadvertently become a toe expert in minifigures. This is like, none of this is, I didn't mean to do any of this. Like, what are you guys doing?
Just the hand
Yeah.
you're dealt when you have to design
This is I
these
guess.
custom figures. Oh, that's...
I suppose I could have just left them blank and done everyone a favor, but
No, I think you did everyone a favor by adding the toes. You helped the resale value for sure.
it's funny getting, again, it's that chuckle moment. I don't know.
Yeah. No,
It's what the hell are you doing, man?
no, I love it. I love it. Well,
I feel like Lego would just be like, so somehow they got like the mummy passed. You know what I'm talking about? It's
Yeah.
like it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
all it's like all black, and it's like somehow they got that pat. Like, yeah, those toes are great there. And like the Yeti, I guess that makes sense. I don't know, does it? But it's like no human minifigure. Well, maybe I guess maybe there are now in the collector series, the exclusive toe minifigures.
I don't know if I would have heard about it by now in some group
I feel like
chats.
there's got to be some more toe printed.
I'm gonna say for this one, stud. I absolutely pick this one up.
Yes, the toe printed Brick Mania Top Gun figures.
You
stud for
have to
sure.
pick up. That's just absolute studs. Stud. Sorry. What was the question?
Amazing.
Perfect.
Well, seriously, thank you again for your time and for coming on the
You're
podcast.
ending on a toe question.
I-
What do you?
I had to, right? That was all we had for Stutter
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We can end it with more AI talk.
No, it's perfect. You don't have. No, it's. I think that's an appropriate. You build people up and then you just let them down, and it's perfect. It's the exact split that you. Yeah, we need to humble ourselves continually. It's perfect.
Lando's like, I never want to come on the podcast again.
No, it was cool. It was fun. I appreciate you guys having me on here. it's fun to see another podcast and see what you guys can bring to the community. I hope to bump into you guys at a convention.
Yeah, it'd be really fun.
At some point.
I should be at Chicago and Virginia.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
summer, so hopefully we can.
Those are the two that I'm gonna tentatively. Yeah, I'd like to
Perfect.
go to those ones as well.
Yeah, I would
Well,
like to go to those two as well. So hopefully.
If you want to run into Lando in person, you got to come to Chicago or Virginia, apparently. And otherwise, you can find him at brickwarp.com. Make sure you use chatbrick5 for the code and the free tile. Just saying it again because I'll forget. So
yeah,
just got to bring it up 3 times on the podcast.
No, it's perfect. You gotta. If this is like what's that the TV show where it's like not Sky Mall. I mean, I wish it was Sky Mall. That would be sweet. What's the home shopping network? This whole thing is the home shopping network.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that's before your time. So side rant. I'm not gonna let you end this one.
No, please.
I go have scotch with my 94-year-old neighbor every once in a while, and I've been watching like the home shopping network QVC with him, and it's like he's like, oh man, that turkey cutting knife is perfect. We got to get that. So I talked him out of buying a turkey cutting knife. So
see, that was like a little bit before my time, but that was still all that was playing at night. Like if you turned on the TV at like 1 a.m., like someone's trying to sell you a ShamWow.
So all I'm saying is like for a limited time.
Wow.
But now it's
for a
not
limited
Sham,
time.
so...
No, right. Limited time, you can get a exclusive 1x8 brick. Your whole family will think you're cool, and it'll improve your credit score by 40. Kids don't have credit scores. It'll make you whatever.
For only 4 payments of 0.01 Ethereum. No, just Ethereum. That price is probably way off.
Spicy internet money.
Spicy internet money.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I would appreciate, at the very least, I'd appreciate it if you checked out my website, sign up for my email list, etc. I'm on Instagram a lot. Maybe I'll get on TikTok one of these days. But
yeah, and actually, maybe while you're saying that, like obviously the website, but if you want to share your Instagram handle,
my Instagram handle is Lando_LLC. I do have Brickwarp on there. I haven't started populating that yet, but Lando_LLC is the one I've been using for years. So you can find me there on Instagram or brickwarp.com. Please check me out.
Amazing. Well, thank you again. It's been really fun talking about, your whole history, but also just all the brands you've interacted with and talking a little bit about modern customs in the space. So thank you again. Seriously.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you very much for having me on this episode. It was fun.
Absolutely. Well, thanks everyone again for listening in. It's been Brick Chat.
Nice. I think I'm still recording. Where am I at? Oh, there it is. Yeah. So have fun editing.